Yesterday's teams fought tooth and nail for a chance at the title. See what FlyQuest and Team Liquid have in their arsenals with the last spot at Shayfitz Arena on the line. Pobelter hopes to vanquish his former team and reclaim the title from Team Liquid. We'll see if Team Liquid can cement themselves as a 3-time title contender here in the LCS. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the LCS Countdown, where for 30 minutes we award some senior superlatives and break down the impact of draft in today's series until the timer reaches 0 and we jump into Champion Select. Yesterday, heading into Game 3, the series seemed all but wrapped up for Cloud9, but TSM dug deep and pulled off the reverse sweep to earn their spot in St. Louis. Today, FlyQuest hope to sustain their momentum from the quarterfinals and knock out the reigning champs Team Liquid for a shot at the title. There were plenty of giant hero moments from yesterday's semifinal series, but sometimes it comes down to your bot laner saying, I can do more than just carry, just to say I'm helping, presented by State Farm. Now, in his Game 5, Sneaky jumps on a grenade so Niski can live. What a pal.
Niski's now in some trouble. Glacial Fissure's able to find the mark onto him. Broken Blade going to now be dropping very low himself. Getting away with the pool. Nearly going to be taken down. A good save from Bjergsen.
Niski has the bomb on his head, has to use his Zhonya's.
Yeah,
Fitzcarrot goes with their combo. Sneaky's able to go in there. Bomb defusal Sneaky will be the next cosplay.
So we were talking about this yesterday, and we were wondering, is Sneaky actually trying to grab the bomb there? Because he does like a half step over left, but I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt because he had nothing else to spell shield. Good job, Sneaky.
Yeah, hopefully he just wanted a panic spell shield.
That was always the question.
It was definitely intentional.
Vlad is next to him.
All right, with last night's elimination, we must say bye-bye, buddy, to another team for at least spring split in RIP Cloud9.
Penta? I'm stealing.
No, Niski, you're one kill. You're one kill. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. I'm going. I'm going.
Guys.
We can't do it.
Oh. Wait, did we even end now? We got it.
Sneaky, front that.
Sneaky, just kill him.
2 seconds. 2 seconds.
Hit.
All right.
Well, what about my Penta?
Cloud9, in a sub-25-minute win, will lock themselves the second bye in the LCS. Cloud9 versus TSM. We've said it before. Such a historic rivalry. Diesel still looking at front line on this one. Broken Blade's able to find Hemo Plague onto 2. Sneaky's gonna get very low, barely getting himself out alive. Licorice is the next target. TSM, 3 for 0. Make it 4. Niski stands alone.
I mean, there's a way to go out, though. What a way to go out. Burn bright on your way down, you know?
The reverse sweep?
Yeah, the reverse sweep.
What a
I don't care about how they felt about it. For me, it was great to see them go out, you know, TSM and them battling neck and neck, 5-game series.
It was a very exciting 5-game series. I'm hoping we get another one today. Now, this desk will bring you MVP, player of the split at finals. But there are a few more awards to give out before we ship off, so we're going to knock out the senior superlatives right now. First up, it's Rookie Beard of the split, and it goes to Bjergsen.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first year he's had the beard, so he has to have the rookie. And frankly, he's already looking like he's contending for best beard of the entire thing.
And it gets better than just that screenshot right there. That's from the beginning of the year. It went full Pirate Sea Captain by the end, leading his team to victory just yesterday.
It's a high beard percentage that he got here. What that actually means, I'm not entirely sure, but that's a high percentage.
Is that like of how big it could be?
No,
or
how much it covers his face?
Right.
Coverage.
Okay.
Yeah.
73%, no.
Well, so then what's
hair.
optimal? Because I don't think you want 100%.
Can you see?
Is 72% optimal in that case?
That sounds good in that case.
Sounds like a pretty solid, solid number. All right, next up is best spill of the split, and I bet you know who this one's going to.
In his defense, I've done that.
What does he do?
Don't
defend this man.
I hit that on the desk, but not like 7 times in a row trying to destroy it.
He looked like he was trying to pound some chicken out.
This is an indefensible action.
Indefensible.
It's spraying everywhere. It's just
like, what on earth possessed you to do that? Well, we do have an honorable mention in this category as well. So let's take a look at who picked up that honors.
Ooh. I wonder.
Oh,
what do you know?
Oh, what do you know?
Is that yesterday too?
It's like within an hour or two of each other,
Yeah,
I believe.
it was also
my
yesterday.
God.
He's like trying to pour the Red Bull or whatever out of his keyboard. I don't know if it
Yeah,
works that way.
he's trying to.
Does that work that way?
Right now, I mean,
You have to put it in rice.
I don't know. Does the keyboard fit in a pot of rice?
Yeah, that'll be it. When summer split, we return and there's just a bucket of rice next to Sven's seat every time he plays. I like to pretend it's an accident when I spill something on stage. It's not.
He wants more camera time.
Why does he do it? I'm so curious.
I don't know, man. I don't know. All right, next up, we've got freshest Twitter beef. Let's take a look at who it's between. Pobelter's got some words for TL coming into the series today.
I like that he has the hoodie on his profile picture, too. He's looking like 200 IQ Pobelter, notorious POV up there.
Well, the beef gets even beefier
Yeah, I was gonna
because
say.
Doublelift just tweeted out a picture that celebrates their victory over FlyQuest. Newsflash, they haven't played, so hold on.
The victory dinner before they've even played. I mean, it's probably a little fresher than that. I think he might have got snubbed. Late entry.
Late entry, yeah. It's too bad the polls are closed already, but wow, that's something else.
Who has dinner at this time?
That's a little taboo. Who has dinner?
Pictures can't be saved.
Trump's just coming away with just like, I've been thinking about dinner time all wrong.
You can't save pictures on your phone. You realize.
All right.
Okay.
Finally, there's the Bjergsen Lifetime Achievement Award, named for the player with the most playoff games played. And no surprise that the inaugural recipient of this prestigious award goes to none other than the heart and soul of his team, the unmatched and incomparable Doublelift.
Yep, absolutely no better candidate to receive the first ever Bjergsen Award. He's just been such a staple of the LCS since its inception.
Has anyone ever unironically referred to themselves as a gamer?
Great question.
I don't know what this tweet is.
Literally never called myself a gamer.
You've never done it.
right now.
What's
Are you a
funny
gamer,
is
Crumbs?
Doublelift himself has done
See,
it.
I say I play games, I just don't say I'm a gamer.
Unless you're being ironic and you're like, I'm a gamer. And then it just like sounds so childish almost.
I see. All right, well, we're going to take a breather, but as we go, let's listen into this week's Mic Check, which follows FlyQuest in their 5-game win over Golden Guardians last week.
Feels so good.
That's what you said on Thursday, and then you ran it down.
Yeah, I'm getting a little scared right now, but like I really feel good.
He's on me.
They have to be.
Oh, they're contending. Hey, just one shot, just one shot.
Oh shit.
Watch Karthus. Karthus and DK. Karthus and DK are here. I got the Herald. Try to get it and get out. Try to get it and get out. Try and get out. Might be.
Okay, I did too.
Let's focus on our lane phase. Let's make sure we're actually connected and communicating the objectives we want to play, okay?
Yeah.
Hey, Les. Yeah, cancel the last gonna hang. Oh, Galio's still here?
Yeah, I'm a Galio.
Yeah, I'm coming on your side.
Okay,
You guys chase them anymore? J4 is dead.
I'm no smite, okay? No smite.
They're flashing in. They're flashing in. I'm cutting back.
I'm stopwatch. I'm stopwatch.
Okay.
We win.
Yeah, we won this for sure. Clear. I have Vel'Koz.
Okay, I'm
Heal Jason, heal Jason, heal Jason.
really in the fight.
Oh, no. 1 HP. No, we just died.
So strong 4, good split, make your own windows, and ask if you need to do anything with those windows.
Hey, look at Vel'Koz, look at Vel'Koz.
Watching.
Watching. Yeah, I'm going.
I'm on my way.
I'm on my way. Help Eugene out. I'm ulting him.
I'm ulting.
I think we win this.
killing
Yeah,
someone.
front to back, front to back, front to back. Trying to mark everybody here.
Yeah.
Careful, Varus. I'm ulting him. Marked her. She's marked. Just kill her. Can we run it down?
Yeah, look at this guy. Yeah.
I'm out. Yeah, we can end. Okay, Vel'Koz.
Aatrox and Galio, only people alive. You guys can get
we can end for sure.
Bring out the silver scratch.
Oh, let's know. Yeah, I got a big stun. Nice, we won this. Go, let's. Actually, finish over. Go, let's.
I'm in your fucking
let's go. Oh, nice. Yeah,
I'm really strong.
Spell shield 4, spell shield 3, spell shield 2. Just go.
Yeah, look here.
Yeah, looking at everything.
Looking. Looking.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice. Oh, I love you guys.
I got carried so fucking hard this game.
My God.
Jesus Christ. Good job, guys.
I'm sorry.
Welcome back to the LCS Countdown, where FlyQuest and Team Liquid kicks off in just about 17 minutes. Ahead of his first semifinal, Coach Invert feels FlyQuest has the upper hand when it comes to pressure.
Right. I think one of the biggest strengths that we have is that we can play without pressure this series. A lot of the pressure is on TL's side to perform to the expectations of their fans. And for us, there's not as much pressure. And so we can play with more freedom. We're able to play our style and use our fundamentals and our foundation to kind of carry through. Another thing that I think really is in our favor is because of that freedom, our style is a little more flexible than Team Liquid's. We can play through all of our lanes really easily, and I hope we can show that in today's game. I mean, it means a lot. It means we get to go to St. Louis, we get to compete for that trophy that everyone has their eyes on, especially, you know, everyone comes into this match with a bit of a chip on their shoulder. You know, we're kind of the guys who no one expected to be here, and for us to be on that stage when everyone had that narrative about us would mean absolutely the world, so.
Talking about playing with no pressure, I think we can point to yesterday's series and what Bjergsen talked about. After going down 0-2, the idea of playing with nothing to lose, removing that pressure from yourself so that you can perform to the utmost level, definitely turned things around for them.
Yeah, well, it's an illusion. All the pressure is you put that on yourself. It's not actually there, so the teams keep hyping themselves up and putting themselves in these corners, mental corners, and so I think that Team Liquid can also take advantage of that, and yes, while the expectations are really high for them, they've also haven't played in a long time, and they are in a downhill slump, so people are saying anybody could win this, so Team Liquid doesn't really feel like they have that much, in my opinion, even though they are the favorites.
Well, let's hear from the Team Liquid camp. More so than in yesterday's semifinal match, the analysts arrived at the conclusion that champion pools could play a big part in the outcome of today's series.
Yeah, you heard Invert talking about it, where he was saying that they feel like they can play through any lane, and that is somewhat evident through their drafts. You know, Viper has more carries that he's played in the top lane than Impact, who is mostly sticking to frontliners, and that feels like what he's best at.
Well, it's not just sticking to frontliners. It's the way that Team Liquid has played around Impact when they try him on those mages, the split pushes, is always just a little bit off. It doesn't make quite as much sense, like the early rotation of the Yorick and sometimes the Vladimir not doing too hot. So Team Liquid, it's not just the champion pool, but how they actually interact with Impact has not been so great since it's also focused around doublelift. And that's why people keep saying Team Liquid has a predictable style, that they're going to be helping the bottom lane more than anyone else.
Well, as we've seen in all of the playoff series so far, the jungle role has been pivotal for teams and their success. Let's talk about these two players. Santorin impressed quite a few in his quarterfinal.
Yeah, so Xmithie, while he is ranked as the best jungler in NA, he has not shown many champions. He's played so much Lee Sin, so much Rek'Sai that you wonder how deep is his pool really, whereas Santorin, he's busted out like 10 different junglers, some of them warranting bans, and when it comes to these champion pools, it's going to be a really big deal as to who has more tricks up their sleeve. And one of the biggest tricks up anyone's sleeve, by the way, magical act, don't pick Jarvan. Coaches, what are you doing? You watching the show? We keep saying this 2 weeks in a row. You keep doing it. He's 1-9. Someone picks Jarvan here, they're going to lose the game. Calling it now.
So we're saying that Xmithie has a small champion pool, but in the same thing, he's like, what, 9-0 on Lee Sin or something
he's
like
great.
that? Does he really need to switch off of Lee Sin if you have a 100% win rate? I would keep picking it, you know, so I think he'll be okay. He's been such a veteran player. He should have a big enough champion pool.
I mean, it's just going to be interesting to see because when they have been on the slump, it was Xmithie who tends to look the worst. And we see so much focus around junglers in all the series so far. I mean, of course, that doesn't go by itself. Hand in hand comes the mid laners. And I think so far, Pobelter has looked super, super good at getting his team ahead and playing whatever role they need, whether it's the more carry focus, the Swain and the Aurelia, or the more utility focus with Lysandra, whereas Jensen has kind of been a bit more of an afterthought, it feels like, on Team Liquid compared to what we're seeing from him.
And the Zoe as well from Pobelter. That's a huge pick for all the series we've had so far.
Right. I'm curious to see if Jensen's going to be a big carry in the series or not throughout the split. You really haven't seen him be like a massive carry. It's more of core JJ, double for Xmithie. And that's not what Jensen's really known for, because back on Cloud9, he was a hard carry for that team. We haven't seen that on Team Liquid so far. So I hope that he steps into his shoes and be like, hey, I'm a big carry. I'm one of the best in NA, and I'm going to show you that I'm better than you.
That said, the numbers are still great for Jensen.
Yeah, that KDA is a little...
also, again, a product of being on the #1 team. I think the point still stands that he does play a secondary role to, say, double lift on the team when it comes to the ultimate carry. Also important to note that Jensen is still searching for that very first domestic title and made that move over to Team Liquid with the expectation that they'd be able to achieve it. On the other side of things, you're looking at FlyQuest, and as Invert said, no one expected them to be here. This is the one team of the top 4 here that didn't necessarily have the expectation coming into the postseason, and they're going up against a couple world champions. This is, you know, quite a matchup.
It's a beautiful underdog story, right? There's no imports. There's just FlyQuest, NA residents. Can they live up to the expectation of representing this region and taking down people that have actually won multiple titles in NA and the world? It's a tall order.
Yeah, especially when the 2 world champions are actually lined up across from the 2 youngest domestic players on FlyQuest side. So that's where it feels like, oh my God, these mismatches look crazy.
Viper versus Impact, and then JJ versus Core JJ, of course. When it came to their semifinal series, though, Ovly caught up with the coaches of Team Liquid, who attribute their late split slump to the initial unprecedented rise.
Thanks, guys. I just spoke with Coach Kane and Dodo about the loss streak that the team had, as well as concerns that fans had for Team Liquid entering playoffs. He said that the poor performance was due to them hitting first way too fast in the split and falling into a place of overconfidence and complacency. He said that since they had nothing to play for, the team really fell into a slump in terms of practice starting in week 8, and they even considered subbing in Team Liquid Academy in at one point. He said that it wasn't until this week that things really clicked together for Team Liquid, and he's confident that during their match against FlyQuest today, their hard work is really going to show. Back to you guys.
Wasn't until this week that things really started.
Love to hear that.
Well, I mean, that's, I guess, a vote of confidence, but it makes you wonder what things clicking for TL looks like if their whole regular season where things were looking quite good and you finished #1 was not things clicking.
Yeah, let's hope that they made the most out of this lack of practice, because we saw Cloud9 got the bye. It didn't look so good.
Well, it's time for another commercial break, but on the other side, we look at who these analysts think will come out ahead in today's series. We'll see you here after the break.
Yeah, got a pretty big fender bender here.
State Farm's got you covered, Mike.
That's great to hear, Robin. Everybody remain calm. We have this situation under control. We'll be out of here in a jiffy.
We're definitely going to be the underdogs going into the match against Team Liquid.
They had a way better split. They have world champions. People didn't even expect us to make playoffs.
Honestly, I'd way rather be David. Being glad sucks, and everyone wants to see you fall. Who's the protagonist? It's David.
FlyQuest will find their fight!
Who's the villain? It's Goliath.
And Team Liquid are well and truly the best team in North America.
I think a lot of new fans that just want a new team to win is rooting for us right now because we are kind of a no-name team.
We have to outplay them in ways that most teams don't do against TL. If we're gonna make it to the finals, this would be it.
Rookies like Viper or returning players like Santorin, they really, really want it, and they want it more than anything else, but in my worldview, I always want it the most.
TPing behind, TPing behind.
Double lift, shifts himself forward.
It's over, boys. It's a montage.
The best team in North America is the best team for a reason.
Welcome back to LCS Countdown, where because it's Sunday and I saw the producers snickering earlier, JatStats is probably around the corner. So, Robot, do your worst.
Beep, beep. I'm excited.
Hello?
Oh, maybe he died.
I have a name Dash, but I know, deep down, you wish you were a robot like me, so I forgive you.
I do.
Let's jump right into JatStats. Question 1. Bjergson yesterday hit 102 playoff games, which is the most in the LCS all time. The player with the second most is in today's series. Who is it?
Double. Right?
100%.
But wait a minute. Hang on, hold on.
Smithy?
Hold on.
I was thinking Smithy.
What
maybe.
if it's
Vulcan days?
Turtle?
Vulcan, Turtle on TSM?
On everything. He was on TSM.
Because you also have to consider, even though
missed one split.
Yeah, but even though think about the fact that like Double Lift,
they were
may have gone to
relegation
playoffs,
sometimes.
but they maybe got knocked out in
They weren't good till
semis. Like
2015.
players who were on TSM
Turtle.
in the early years would have gone multiple series deep.
Turtle
into
hasn't been in like the playoffs in like the past.
All right.
Yeah, he was. He was in Immortals
So
once.
typically,
He was,
this is the death of me when I align with Mark.
Don't listen to me.
But
Turtle.
I'm going with Mark.
Don't go with it,
Jay. Jumping. You jump. I jump.
Turtle.
The correct answer is Wild Turtle with 86 games.
We nailed it.
I didn't think that was going to work.
Hey, I was like, you should be more excited right now.
Yeah,
all right, that's a good start.
Nice.
Question 2. What champion has the highest KDA in the LCS playoffs all time? A. Talia.
Oh, we
B.
get
Kalista.
choice.
C. Zoe.
It's got to be Ezreal, right?
D. Ezreal.
I would assume Ezreal just because of the safety of that champion.
Lots of people feed on Ezreal.
Lots
Do
of
they?
people.
Yeah, they do.
Wait,
they do.
I think I'm going to
feeds on
choose Talia because that's just a random champion compared to the
No
rest,
one
right?
feeds on
No, but
Zoe.
he played
She
it.
hasn't been played much in
Zoe.
this.
Well, when she was
but-
played
but-
in jungle, she was disgustingly OP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zoe. No one feeds. It's so hard to feed on Zoe.
I'm going
People definitely
Ezreal.
feed
Zoe.
Talia.
Going Ezreal?
I'm going Ezreal,
Zoe.
but
Talia.
I think Ezreal makes
I think
more
Ezreal's the
sense.
bait, though.
But that's probably
I
the
think
bait
it-
answer.
I think it's
So
still
you
look at
think
me.
it's- Okay, I'll go Ezreal, though.
I've seen
It
bad
doesn't just
Ezreals in
feel
my
like-
Get off
time.
my picks.
We
The
got
correct answer is Kalista at a 24
Wow,
KDA.
the one that we did not choose.
Also, that KD is so high.
That is ridiculous.
That's like 0 deaths,
I wonder how
basically.
many games
Like
she's even been
Well,
playing.
there was like
playoffs.
there was when Sticks.
Yeah, right? Like what? That makes me think.
No, she was
it's gonna be
super
one.
high presence in like 2016 when
been
Double It
amazing.
first Sticks Day was going on. And
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
Well, she's
All right, Callista's the answer to all your playoff problems.
Our next question is a rapid fire section.
Ooh,
Please
okay.
assign the correct team to the value shown on screen. Does that stat belong to Team Liquid or FlyQuest? First
just
up,
overall
gold
gold-
differential
Wait,
at
FlyQuest is
15.
right. Team Liquid is left.
Oh, okay.
That sounds
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think I
Yeah.
agree with
Fly
Ty there.
left.
FlyQuest
Team
is
Team
right.
Liquid's higher,
Liquid's
right?
Yeah.
No, Team
No,
Liquid is lower.
FlyQuest is right. Exactly. Team
yeah,
Liquid's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's what I
Exactly.
said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had it.
Yeah.
That's what.
Yeah.
Miscommunication.
Of course.
Next, it's
I'm a
first
genius,
blood
don't worry.
percentage.
All right.
First blood
Crushing it
percentage.
today. Ooh.
FlyQuest. FlyQuest is right.
You think FlyQuest is higher
the
again,
higher one?
Santorin?
Yeah,
I think
Agreed.
Santorin's
Okay.
pretty good.
Right.
Let's go
I'm in
with
on that.
Same.
TL the old
Okay.
team. There it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
I guess
Finally,
All right, we're crushing
Baron
it.
percentage.
I missed the Callisto.
Wait.
Baron percentage.
Baron
Team
percentage.
Liquid on the right.
TL's gonna get the one on the right, and
yeah, for
FlyQuest
sure,
on the
for
left.
sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
Team Liquid. Team Liquid's
Team
on the
Liquid
right.
right.
When you only lose a few games over the entire split, your Baron control is gonna be pretty solid.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
We did well
Look at all, we
today.
are crushing it today. Bring it on, Jat.
Thank you, analysts.
Oh,
It's
that's it.
been
He's
a
running
great
away.
split.
Yeah, you want to
I'm not going
my
anywhere,
stats.
but I've still been really great. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Have a lovely time in St. Louis.
Thank you.
I hope to see you there.
I appreciate that.
Au revoir.
I hope you're not there. All right. Time to move on and refocus in on today's series. Who's going to meet TSM in the finals? That's what everyone wants to know. So, hand me your prediction.
Team Liquid, 3-0, I'm sorry.
3-0. Calling the clean sweep here. Crumbs?
Listen, I would love to see a world where FlyQuest can go all the way to MSI.
You were talking about.
I was.
What? Just yesterday.
You were repping them. But just like a politician, I don't always mean what I say. So I think Team Liquid has to take it 3-1. They just look so good in regular season. You can't discount that.
All right, it'll be a little bit more of a fight there, but what are you thinking, Mark?
I'm copying Crumbs as well. 3-1 for me. It feels like these playoffs, we haven't seen very many 3-0s. The games always slow down. There's something that goes wrong in draft one of the games. So I feel like it should be a 3-0, but I'm just scared off of it based off what I've seen so far.
Someone's going to play Sonateric.
So you think that's where the one loss comes from?
No,
it's
I'm
like
just
the
like
random...
that kind of wonky composition comes out.
Someone
you lose
picks
one
Jarvan,
game, you know.
Yeah,
there.
Do you see a Jarvan player?
Yeah,
Has he played it yet?
I think he has.
We can check on that. No. I'm confident in 3-0.
You're confident in the 3-0.
They're a super
what
team.
makes you so confident in that 3-0?
I mean, they have a super team. They're supposed to be the best in NA. That's what they're touting for. Each player in every single role is top 3 in their relative position. Some are number 1, specifically their bottom lane. And for no reason should these guys go down here unless for some reason they're having an off day.
You know how we do those things where we pin our face on who we think has the matchup?
Yes.
We would be on Team Liquid side for literally all 5.
Okay.
So I think that's why
you're looking at the 3-0s and the 3-1s.
And it's not just, it'd be far on the side.
No, I think for Xmithie and Centaur.
That was the closest.
That's one of the closest.
Oh, you go, oh, wow, how gracious. 50 in one matchup.
TL across the board here on the analyst desk. Let's see if FlyQuest could do anything to prove them wrong here in the first game as we throw it out to Freak, Kobe, and Azael for the call.
Thank you very much, Dash. Welcome to the Battle Arena. I am David Freak Turley, flanked by a couple of Bilgewater buds, Isaac, Azael, Cummings, Bentley, and Sam, Kobe, Hartman, Kensler.
Fair enough. I like
That's
it.
true.
Bilgewater has a nice theme to it. I could go for a pirate.
All right, we had a discussion of Bjergsen's pirate beard earlier on in the countdown, so I think it's a good thematic here for today. And
worked out well for him.
Cutlasses are out. It's time for an upset, possibly FlyQuest and Team Liquid doing battle.
And we've got to say, despite the fact that the analyst desk, was all on the side of TL and, talked about those matchups being in their favor, these guys just played a couple of weeks ago and FlyQuest won, right? So there is the possibility of upset. There is always the possibility that TL is not able to play this carry versus carry top lane style where they have struggled at times. We got to see what the drafts are going to give us.
And talking to some of the players and staff members, they think this is going to be a lot more interesting than a 3-0. FlyQuest have been looking very strong recently, while Team Liquid ended the split with quite a few losses. Let's get into it, though. Lysandra, one of the bans right off the table here from Pobelter. This guy has been doing so much work for FlyQuest, roaming around, setting up teammates, and really playing well.
Yeah, as you mentioned, we did get to see Pobelter just last weekend. They played Golden Guardians, 3-2 victory there, but it means that what they wanted to play was shown. It gives Team Liquid the early scouting edge. We haven't seen TL play on 9.6 yet, but we saw FlyQuest tested all the way to Game 5 in that kind of context. So that's going to be, I think, a little bit helpful on the ban phase. You're seeing Gangplank and Silas dropped away from Impact, giving him the ability to play this game.
Controversial pick here.
Yeah?
For Team Liquid that they're
waiting
over.
It's a possibility. But the question I really have with Team Liquid is, as you'd kind of mentioned, the 3-game loss streak heading into playoffs, how much of that is really indicative of their level of play? How much of that was being a bit lax, as Kane talked about with Ovly this morning? That's the question that I have here.
And I mean, some people were saying, people who were, the Team Liquid kind of supporters saying that, oh, well, they already locked in first, so of course they're going to experiment. Of course they're going to do these different things. The Jace was one of those experimentations that wasn't really working out as well for them. So seriously, if this is that kind of playstyle that they want to show, we'll see if Impact can deliver a better level here today against Viper, who is such an excellent carry versus carry top laner.
I kind of like opening with the Jace pick because similar to yesterday where you open with the Taric Sona bottom lane, then if it does work in game 1, then you can receive some more respect, some bans looking forward throughout the series. But if it flops on its face, then
it's still gotta work.
That's right out the window.
Well, Centauran back on the rec side. He played so well last week. Gonna grab that one, no problem. Team Liquid's time to round out the rest of their composition. Increasingly, we've been seeing bot lane picks later and later on in the draft. They're no longer quite those same safe blinds. And oh, there's the Sona, and there's the Taric Team Liquid ready to go in game 1.
We saw it yesterday. Cloud9 pulled out in game number 1 to get a win over TSM. TSM talked about how they were not ready for that, and they just banded out the rest of the series. But again, if you can get a win in the first game like this, that can earn you some extra credit for the bans later in the series. It does have to work though. And they are blind picking this bottom lane. Yeah, actually they're not. Galio's already been locked in, not too threatening of a support.
Yeah, there's a small chance that Galio gets flexed mid and Relly goes top, but very likely will be JJ playing that Galio. And I've been hearing, a lot of discussion from pros about the fact that they feel you can pick extremely kind of, so to speak, greedy scaling ADs into this bot lane because they don't feel that in pro play they should be able to punish you heavily in lane. Things along the lines of Kog'Maw and Jinx, they feel that you can get away with and then just have superior DPS when you do come to that late game if you can survive to that point.
Yeah, we saw Sven and Smoothie, they took the Vayne into it, got the early kill in lane. With the Condemn against the wall on the Sona, who is squishy and susceptible to burst.
And one of the big things yesterday with the composition that Cloud9 ran when they did have the Sona Taric was this Heck Room. Svenskeren had such a strong game on the Heck Room. He was multiple levels ahead of his opposing jungler. He had the hard engage with that champion to pair up with Taric, and it really did kind of bring the composition together. So I'm interested to see, will TL draft some of that hard engage? Because Taric Ultimate, I feel, is so much harder to use defensively than it is offensively when you have that guaranteed engage and you're forcing them to fight you into it.
And watching these team comps play out, it does feel like any of these Sona Taric comps are very mid-game focused. When we had Svenskeren pop off, it was Warrior Trinity for a second, right? It's a very mid-game spike champion. Sona can get to Archangel Staff and a Lich Bane, but she'll start to fall off from there. She's not going to have the same late-game impact as a 5-item Ezreal or Jinx or Sivir or Kais in this kind of case. So scaling mark into the bottom lane, if FlyQuest can withstand the 3-item spike and mid-game push, it can start to feel better for them, but you have to get through that against infinite sustain.
And you are also combining that with the Jace. Early lethality, Jace is going to have a similar curve there and a different damage type of a threat. So Team Liquid are putting together a very strong mid-game for themselves here.
And that's why the laning phase becomes so critical, right? If you're going to draft for this Jace, for this Olaf, the Sonic Taric, you're going to have a really effective early few levels, early mid-game. This is probably a Jace mid, yeah.
But Jace mid, Kennen top, Olaf, maybe even attack damage Olaf in the jungle.
Yeah, I mean, very, very likely could be, Black Cleaver sort of style. I do think that Olaf pairs very well with the Taric. You send him in with your ultimate, and you can use the Dazzle off of him with the Bastion, hitting those stuns, giving the additional CC for the Olaf, who is going to be really powerful in those early minutes of the game.
Both the Sona speed and the Jace acceleration gate work very well for Olaf and Kennen as engagers for the team too. On the side of FlyQuest though, they have also locked in the Zoe for Pobelter, his Game 5 winning champion, where he absolutely hard carried for FlyQuest to get them here today. He's on this once again. They have once again flexed the Aurelia up to Viper, who talked about not even having that many recent games on Aurelia, but having the confidence to play that flex for the team, and it worked out incredibly well.
Now, Aurelia versus Kennen top lane is one of the things people looked at as a possibility to help the FlyQuest upset happen. Get the carry versus carry matchup, let Viper hopefully win with experience in this kind of champion with a bit of aptitude on this kind of champion. And we'll see if they can withstand the mid-game spikes and if they can get into the late game. And Wild Turtle can do the late game carrying that he had been doing throughout the back half of the split. It's time for the coaches to shake hands. Invert, always incredibly stylish. Here we go. Team Liquid were the favorites coming into the year. And for the first 15 games, you thought this is definitely the squad. A 14-1 start, but then a 3-game losing streak. Jensen, Doublelift, Core JJ, absolute juggernauts in their roles. And FlyQuest, with a rookie top laner and a few new additions as well, have managed to make top 4. And it's time for the battle to join TSM in St. Louis. Who's going to make it through this best of 5? Summoner's Rift, here we are, and how fashionable does Taric look leaving the fountain? Another Sona Taric bot lane here in the LCS, undefeated in the playoffs, and Team Liquid already showing a little bit of something new, even though it's been seen before, as FlyQuest are going to hope that Viper on Comfort and Wild Turtle the same can make another best-of-5 series win.
Big TL fans, though, gonna have some questions. You know, is this the draft that you were expecting to see from TL? Doublelift has not had the best history on mages in the bot lane. This is more similar to that style. Impact, not the guy you usually want to see on carries, but here's an invade.
A double stun. JJ's got to run away, but the core is already there to do some damage. Looking for 2 more shots to kill him. Will he have to burn the flash? Someone to heal might be enough. Will there be the extra auto attacks? Impact coming in to try to help out as well. Flashing over the wall, flashing to follow. 2 autos should be enough, and it is! Impact starts out strong in the top lane.
They get another flash as well. Pobelter has to use the real flash on Zoe to escape from the bottom side. And that is Team Liquid already securing first blood for their top laner. Impact on Kennen now is going to have the extra money to get more aggressive.
I think FlyQuest made the read that it was a 5-man invade on TL on the top side to try to get wards up there. And you know, they saw some members of TL on the top side, so JJ and Turtle think it's safe to walk in here on the bottom side and get those wards down. But Jace, as well as Tarek, waiting there and landing the double bastion.
Yeah, running into the Tarek stun here. They're able to land the double. JJ taking way too much damage there. The rest of Team Liquid are here to help corral him. Impact flashing over the wall. Now, flashes expended here are going to need to be tracked by the junglers. Impact is ahead on Kennen. And in the range matchup, you want to try and threaten. But without that flash, you have to be so cognizant of where is Santorin. Rek'Sai, a very potent ganker early on, can go for those flash plays. And so that is why Impact right now is actually letting the minion wave sit in the middle.
And speaking of Impact, he did not get time to recall, so the first blood does not affect the laning phase right now. No extra items brought in here for the fight. So it will still be a fairly straight-up 1v1. And again, as you mentioned, flash down. Despite getting first blood, Impact technically a bit behind.
Yeah, I think he's going to have to hold on to that lightning rush, use it pretty defensively. You know, when you are in these awkward positions, you want to make sure that you're not using it too aggressively, because if a jungler shows up, you have no flash, you have no lightning rush, you're going to be so susceptible to going down.
That's still hoping to harass with Kleptomancy, and Santorin's going to sweep the wards, make sure that, okay, Impact does indeed have to play with Fog of War here.
And Santorin should know that when he goes for the Scuttle, he'll probably be by the Scuttle Crab ward. That is so common by all teams on both of them. So he'll know that he's been scouted. If you do avoid all those wards, though, Rek'Sai can actually go much more deep into enemy territory and come from behind laners, even on the top side. Not going to be the case, though, as he's been scouted, and we'll go back to the jungle to finish clearing.
Still going to be a camp and a half behind this Olaf right now. Xmithie has knocked down 6 himself, still has a Scuttle to take. Instead cleared all of his normal camps, grabs the red smite, and he'll be ready to go back on the map. 2 control wards, first recall. I know from solo queue, never seen that happen from my junglers, Kobe. Don't know if you've done that either. But it is a vision focused here for Xmithie.
Yeah, he goes for the power clear on Olaf, just getting all of the camps down this early. Then you go out for some vision work, and you come back to your jungle starting at that top again. They will all be respawning in line at higher experience, and you're going to continue your power clearing. It's actually one of the fastest routes to level 6. And you have a little bit of time here while you're waiting for them to respawn to go get some invade done.
Another really kind of interesting thing about this Sona Tarek bottom lane is the access to double sight stones as you're going further into the game. You know, when you talk about mid-game and that being a lot of the power around that, you can play even more effectively around objectives like the early Barons because you have 2 people to heal you through the damage coming out of the Baron, but also because you have such a plethora of vision to actually be able to set up and kind of secure those objectives.
That'll be something we see soon enough. As you're seeing, of course, it is CoreJJ taking all the normal farm as they wait for Doublelift to finish his quest. And then once that's done, Sona goes to back and getting all of the gold. Now, when we saw the C9 TSM game, actually, it was the Tarek losing a lot of farm up to the pushing of Sven and Smoothie. In this case, Turtle and CoreJJ, or sorry, Turtle and JJ, I'm going to get that wrong all series, have not punished Tarek's farm, and he's actually left hitting just as well as the Kai'Sa.
Yeah, and it's much more difficult when you have a melee champion at your side to try and punish the Tarek Sona lane. So that's why they were so confident to lock this in after seeing the Galio early.
You can see, though, how this lane can win through poke, right? You know, Doublelift is going to be able to focus almost solely on just poking and harassing. He doesn't have to actually farm. So you're playing this Sona, and every time Turtle is actually going for farm, you can be threatening to step forward and landing that poke. And as a result, Turtle has already expended his potion and is sitting about 2/3 HP.
Trying to sustain back as best he can. Nice little taunt. Core JJ mostly actually shields it all with Bastion anyway. Not going to lose too much there, but looks like he'll stay safe for now as Doublelift gets 14 gold and can walk back to safety.
And this lane really is going to be frustrating to play against if they can get you into those sort of poke battles, because not only is there Bastion shield, there's Guardian. Both of these champions can heal. Sona W also adds a shield during the trades. It is one of those things where when you're choosing fights against it as the FlyQuest lineup, you have to be sure that you're going to be able to have essentially that lethal damage, that you can actually fully finish them off, or they will start to heal up and sustain through those fights and really can look to turn things around.
Just looking by the ward is the Olaf of Xmithy, and oftentimes you feel safe when you have that trinket down because you think it sees him and it doesn't. In fact, there is JJ though, spots him. Infernal Rig doesn't slow, an easy walk out for the Olaf, but that's really unfortunate. Committed the control ward and everything and won't get the Drake.
Yeah, got to be a little bit more sneaky. It's something like a blast cone over the top or something. JJ wraps around, does find it out, so there'll be no sneaky dragons early on. Santorin just cruising back to the top side to continue farming here.
And no rewards for the early play. And speaking of rewards, make sure you're logged in to watch.lolesports.com so that for the entire series you can earn rewards for watching those games. Make sure you're logged in, watch the games. You can even still turn on Twitch chat. It's perfect.
Incredible.
Yep.
And in the top lane, we do now know that it's going to be an AP Kennen, very likely. The Revolver has come through. We did see yesterday actually a Gunblade build coming out on the Kennen, which I believe to be pretty atypical. It almost always is a Proto Belt rush if you're going to go for that AP or sort of more hybrid build. And that, I think, is what would make the most sense with this sort of composition when you're talking about mid-game focus, when you're talking about forcing team fights. Proto Belt, AP, dive in there, getting all that damage down, I think makes a lot of sense, and that's valuable.
Yeah, I like the Gunblade a lot more, specifically versus the Gangplank matchup. Aurelia here, Impact is going to be a bit worried about the all-in. Aurelia now, post-level 6, has a Rek'Sai as the jungle. So for FlyQuest side, this is one of the big areas you want to look at, is the solo lanes here. Pobelter on the Zoe, he has been great at taking over games if you could get him an early lead. And Viper on the Aurelia, this new guy, rookie of the split for FlyQuest, is on one of those carry champions in the top side. Meanwhile,
back up. 0.25 seconds at work. Zoe Q cooldown nerfs prevent a second paddle start from landing, and Jensen's able to keep playing the landing phase. I heard that cheer for the Zoe Q nerf. I hear you, audience.
Flowers is cheering at home as well.
Yeah, now he's like, it's not enough. He's still mad about it.
All right, Santorin does have Flash, so it's a possibility here, but again, it's double level 6s for the supports. They have Taric ultimate, they have Sona ultimate for disengage here. See what can get done.
And Smithy may be spotted by this ward over by the Raptor, so that could give him a little bit more confidence to actually commit to it. But with him clearing down towards the bot side, it feels like a pretty small window to actually try to go for it, and doesn't feel like they're comfortable to commit. I'd also say for FlyQuest, because of kind of the nature of how the competitions interact, they are not the ones who really need to force. If you're just happy to farm it out, then great. You know, FlyQuest, I think, is going to be very comfortable to opt into that sort of a situation.
That being said, I don't think Team Liquid are up against the timer quite yet. Yeah, they're looking at the mid game.
They've got like 20 good minutes left in them.
Yeah. You're going to set up for that Baron. You're going to take a fight around like the second or third Drake, and that's where it really starts turning around. And first bits of lethality come through. Protobelt done for Impact as well. That's free wave through when he wants it. As items keep stacking up, Turtle is also doing the more frequent nowadays build of Kai'Sa, which is Storm Razor first. Helps you get to those power spikes and the evolves early on. Gone are the days of BF double pickaxe, though I think it's still viable. As the wave is cleared, the Rek'Sai was near top, but Santorin not going to pull the gank.
Yeah, I think it was more kind of holding around, waiting for a possible move from Xmithy. Whenever you see a big minion wave being built up, you have to guard against possible movements from the enemy team. Not going to be the case. Infernal Drake is available. Control wards have been laid, but JJ keeps his watch over the Drake.
Yeah, he's keeping a close eye on it, but as the sight zones are now completing for the TL bot lane, Doublelift is ready, Core JJ is almost ready. It gets not only much more difficult to actually ever really try to gank them, but an all-in top lane.
Pretty good damage here. Going to put Impact at half HP. Viper can keep putting in for attacks, but we need several Qs and no reset left. Can't go over any farther. Still decent damage and trades the ultimates out. Nice blue buff taken over by Xmithy. as they get the bot scuttle as well. And now as those items come through bot lane, they start feeling more comfortable.
That top fight was actually important though, because Viper has such a big health lead now. There's no sustain on Impact. Even though they both have teleports, it's much more risky for Impact to leave. Viper gets control of the minion wave. He also has priority in lane, and that can dissuade Team Liquid from actually making that Infernal Drake play. Really does help out where the bottom lane, they were just getting invaded for FlyQuest, and they were having a little bit of trouble.
And I think I'd even argue that the Kennen ult is probably more important for them to have at that Dragon fight than the Aurelia ult, right? So that is, you know, another kind of beneficial trade there. You can see that the gold was very even between the bot carries, but look at the gold between the supports.
Oh, and another all-in. Impact gets the stun and flashes in time. A single auto attack separated Impact from death.
He cannot walk back up there. He started to walk back to turret. He got flash queued and just die.
Yeah, Viper doing very well for himself, flexing on the top side here against Impact, a veteran in the league. Aurelia taking control. Meanwhile, Pobelter doesn't have much mana left, but he's going to get the auto attack off.
Yeah, I mean, it's Impact with the range versus melee matchup. It's Impact who started with first blood, and it's him being pushed out of the lane by Viper. This was certainly one of the ways in that a lot of people were talking about for FlyQuest is through this top lane, through advantages that they can establish there.
And again, they win some momentum on the top side. They turn it into Infernal Drake here. They finish it up, and that is FlyQuest with some extra scaling for later. Keep in mind that Team Liquid still have a sizable gold lead off of the first blood and off of the farm.
You have to keep in mind that about 1,000 of that gold lead is specifically the Taric versus Galio matchup. That sometimes doesn't mean quite as much. It really depends what comes through here.
And I would say one of the reasons why people opt into the Sona Taric specifically for the double support bottom lane is that Taric does have decent scaling for team fighting for the way that they're looking to play through the mid game. And that can be, you know, another area where they do kind of rely on.
Definitely. I mean, it's certainly not a Kaisa with the extra 1K gold, but if you get an early redemption and you're looking at mid-game focused team fights, that redemption certainly can be the difference between winning and losing that fight. And it's all, I feel like, against these sort of compositions with Sona Taric about hitting the damage threshold where you're doing enough damage that they can no longer prevent the death, you know, land all of those heals and keep yourself alive. This is actually really interesting. He went for a Catalyst, so it may actually be an Abyssal Mask here. Just to kind of buff up some of his teammates' damage.
And it's a kind of item you never get to buy in a regular game of League of Legends, but it's AP Sona, it's AP Kennen, it's a damage amp for the squad, and it'll spike, you know, well in time for Baron, well in time for second Drake, and that's when you want that power.
One of the cool things about this, too, is so much of the power in Taric is tied into the passive. But because you're normally very squishy, since you're so low income, it's actually pretty difficult to get those auto attacks off in a team fight. If you have an Abyssal Mask, if you're really tanky early on, you can use that passive constantly, reset your heals, reset the dazzle stuns, and have that much more power in a team fight.
And to look at from the other side here for FlyQuest, they're looking to avoid those big groupings in the mid game. They have Viper on the Aurelia, very good in a 1v1 up on the side. In a side lane, they have Galio that can traverse a great distance across Summoner's Rift. And of course, Pobelter with the Zoe, always looking to pick people off while they're away from teammates, when they're going between lanes here. So FlyQuest looking to spread the map much more and avoid the giant Team Liquid grouping here towards the mid-game.
And that's what you kind of have to see. How is TL going to force them to come to them, right? We saw, you know, yesterday in the C9 game, around 20 minutes, they just started grouping, walking everywhere as a 5-man squad, trying to force their opponents to respond, and as of yet, TL certainly have not been the ones to force. It was actually FlyQuest taking that dragon, and not too much does come from the Rift.
Yeah, in fact, none of the gold was gained. Speaking of being forced, Smithy couldn't walk into local gold range of those plates, so the plates fall, no one gains the money, only the turret damage, and now the dive towards the back line. Turtle dodges the stun, finds a knock-up towards the Taric, but he's invulnerable. Ult for ult, 2-1 in this case, and out goes Team Liquid.
Yeah, a couple of ults traded, and I really like that you point that out, Freak. I was going to mention, you have to be in range when the Rift Herald is popped, or else it feels so bad, because you're actually just losing out on these plates that are getting destroyed there, and you don't get that very valuable income. Still though, Team Liquid, 4 plates taken here before the 14-minute mark, contributing to their gold lead that they have running into the mid-game, which is where they want to focus on.
It at least contributes to map control. Those turrets a little bit more injured for when round 2 comes. They go for bigger pushes. You think back to Cloud9 versus TSM, an amazing series from yesterday, and it was through a mid-game team fight that C9 sustained back up and just kept pushing and kept pushing. Doublelift has his Archangel staff done, cheaper spells, lots of mana, and his Cloud Drake spawns in 80 seconds. That'll probably be a target of their attention.
And you really can, when the Baron is coming up, sit on the Baron almost infinitely because Taric is nonstop resetting, using the passive. He can heal just about every global, it feels like, with that Taric heal. Sona is shielding you up, so you can sit on that and bait those objectives, hold on to those objectives much longer than a normal team.
That's a really awkward
bubble.
Into it. He's gonna have to cleanse, Pops it. Here comes Rek'Sai, this could be more of a fight. Jumps back around for a slow, nice jumps back as well. Going for round 2, the flash knockup, and that's the first kill of the series for FlyQuest.
Santorin does not give up on the chase. They find the kill onto Jensen here. Throughout the entire jungle, they run almost into the secondary turrets, and they finally take him down.
Nice stuff right there. Brings the gold a bit closer, within 2,000 here, as they've already got that Infernal Drake as well. And FlyQuest hoping to keep this series close, hoping to win it as well. Would be an upset, but they're looking pretty good right now.
Jensen's a guy that we usually compliment so much on his fancy footwork, but barely tagged the end of the bubble there, cleansing and trying to get out of it. Let's take a look at the entire run, because this went from river all the way to tier 2 turret.
Yeah, it looked like he was trying to flash over the full bubble, but just wasn't quite able to get it. Using the to the skies to gain a bit more distance from Santorin, does land the knockup, but then flash knockup comes through from Santorin, setting up for the Paddle Star from Pobelter, and not enough TL members there in time to bail him out.
Well, nice stuff there in that fight. We still look at top lane being advantage for Viper as well, as we have Kennen walking back to lane. Both players have teleport if the play needs to be had. Taric almost has his ultimate back up. Shouldn't be a fight until that happens. JJ in a similar state on the Galio. They can press R soon enough. This is Cloud Drake is alive, and with the 2019 changes, first Drake's pretty good. 3% move speed even in combat.
Definitely true. And a lot of the key items are coming down. You constantly need to check inventories for things like stopwatches. The Kennen, a very important stopwatch to keep track of. Impact is full health, has both summoners, could join a possible skirmish on the bottom side, and both junglers are here.
You got Olaf coming down. Here comes the first knockup. Nice little stun towards JJ though as well. And here comes the teleports. Impact to join this one. This could be big. Stopwatch pop, but JJ certainly going to die. He's going to taunt. He's still going to go down. Impact has both the kills now for Team Liquid, and it's time to go for the Drake.
That should be an easy Drake for Team Liquid because FlyQuest have opted to keep Viper on the top side. So FlyQuest will push on the top side towards the turret, and Team Liquid are actually getting turret damage here to try and get first turret gold first.
Yeah, they should be able to get it very easily, honestly, with 3 members down here. Turret plating has already fallen, so there's not those additional defensive stats as you do knock them down in a group. They'll be able to take the turret, they'll be able to take the dragon as well, and it looked like JJ had a bit of a misexecution there. As he came out of the bush, he let his taunt go, and I'm not sure if that was something where he was charging up and preparing to flash in, and then they didn't have the play ready, but he essentially walked into TL without taunt even available. So nothing really for him to do there, and FlyQuest will be able to trade back turret on the top side. All of that gold is going to go into Viper's pockets, which is going to feel pretty good when you're trying to spread the map, when you're trying to avoid this TL squad. You want side lane advantage.
Especially when they have the teleport advantage now. Aurelia does have Trinity Force completed, so that kill threat is there. Let's take another look at it.
Let's see.
JJ, as you're mentioning, in the brush here.
Yeah, I think he just tried to bail out on it. Maybe he was considering going for a flash taunt, but then hesitated or decided they couldn't go for it. But when you're stepping forward without that taunt, you have little to no threat on the Galio, and essentially makes it that one-way trip.
Now down he goes, and it means that second kill on the board. First turret, only worth 150 bonus gold, but it's still money in the pockets, and Team Liquid still sit at about 2,000 gold up with 1 Drake apiece. We talked about it being a mid-game composition. They're still growing for now. They have not passed their point of usefulness as Doublelift has got his Sheen. He's getting closer to Lichbane. That's going to be nice. Second lethality item coming in soon for Jensen. And Abyssal Mask very near for Core JJ. So next spike's coming soon, and it'll be right in time for Baron.
They certainly have not passed their powerful point, but I would say that they need to get a lot of work done in this next 10 minutes. I think that is really their window. If you arrive at 30 minutes and the game is sitting like this, you're thinking FlyQuest is going to be able to win it. And I think this is really where we're going to be finding the first true test for TL. They're showing us a new composition here. They're showing us Doublelift not on a marksman. This is not a scale to late game and depend on your star player style of team in this game.
And a lot of things they're going to be looking for. Flanks, engages here for the Kennen ultimate, speed ups with Jason Sona. Will they be able to get the Olaf, the Kennen, into place to try and attack FlyQuest and get that backline down? Meanwhile, FlyQuest need to control the vision. Not only does it deny those flanks, but it could set up Pobelter to find picks.
This is sort of where this all hinges now. Is it's 20 minutes in, there's no Drake alive, it is only Baron. This is really where everything is made and everything is broken. Team Liquid gonna be the ones with the more power right now, but they will fall off over time as Kai'Sa scales. So it's the setup for this top set of the map, the setup for Baron. You're seeing the teleport users already running around. Viper is now bottom lane. TP is up. Trinity Force is complete. Merc Treads help him survive Impact 1v1, and this is now the setup to play.
And I generally find that the later the game goes, the worse it gets in the 1v1 for the Kennen. You know, especially as an AP Kennen, you essentially have to have enough burst to threaten a 100-0 style of fight against the Aurelia. And Aurelia is not building magic resistance really, but it is a situation where you're going to build a lot of HP and you're going to get past that threshold, and you will always win the long extended fight against an AP Kennen once you hit that, where you have your Sterix and you have your Titanic and your Triforce and all these items. He just can't burst you down.
And I feel like even after you have Triforce and Merc Treads, you're good to go for the Aurelia. Viper definitely very threatening down there. Meanwhile, on the top side, they've found Jensen.
That's at least 30-second spot. Jensen burns the flash. He's got that to get away. Kai'Sa's going to chase in. Couple more auto attacks. This should be enough. The Q's going to land from Santorin as well. That's a kill picked up. Not quite the ton of the core JJ. Tia looking to go back forward, though. Double stun landed. Damage to the core JJ. The Galio of JJ, and he's going to get out.
FlyQuest make a big play on the opposite side of the map. Picking off the split pusher here. Jensen going down on Jace is going to put a stop to the role they're trying to put together.
Yeah, and it's more time for FlyQuest. They're doing, honestly, an excellent job moving around here. Feels like they are being the more proactive, more aggressive team so far this game, being able to look for these plays. And with Turtle closing in on the Rage Blade, such a strong point in the game is approaching for this Kai'Sa.
FlyQuest have done so much work this split. Adding Pobelter and Turtle's experience here with Santorin coming back and the new rookie Viper in the top side, all playing very well, showcasing some teamwork here. See if it can work out versus the veterans.
I mean, this is Pobelter against his old team, against the mid laner who was brought in to replace him. Pobelter won back-to-back championships with this squad and then was shown the door, right? And certainly you want to take down that team. You want to prove that they made the wrong decision, that, you know, with this kind of band of upstarts, so to speak, you could take down the TL team who is made of world champions, who is made of superstars and millions of dollars.
Back-to-back defending champions, Team Liquid, but FlyQuest looking to put a stop to that one.
I really do love the story of the FlyQuest veterans, though, because these players have titles, but they were never the ones who were like, oh, they won because of you, Pobelter and Santorin and Wild Turtle. Though you've got like 8 trophies among you, it's not because of you. It's, well, you were on the team, and you've got a bunch of ex-LCS champions here to say, no, we can do it with ourselves, with a rookie top laner and a 1-year journeyman support here pulled up from the Academy League. And so far, FlyQuest holding on very well, but Team Liquid pick up the Drake, and they're still ready to go. Oh! Crescendo missed.
Oh, the taunt.
Nice try.
Oh, popping Spell Thief there for the extra move speed, dodges out, and then taunting double lift.
I especially like that this is Pobelter and double lift exchanging in-game taunts, because they have been very active on social media as well. But Impact does get a turret during that time. Pobelter trying to hold them off mid.
Looking for a bit of poke, finds a sleep, but the Q won't get much damage, but he tanks it up anyway, and the siege continues. This is really what this comp does.
Oh, the
Infinite
flank.
health, lots of poke. Here comes the play. A knock-up in. Galio as well. Can they knock down one? They've gotten the first kill in a Sona. Double lift is gone. In goes the cannon, looks for turning it around, but not just yet. Viper is online for the double kill. Looks for number 3, can't find it just yet, but he might get it there. That 3 for Viper in his first playoffs. He's already won 1 series, looking for another, looking for kill number 4. They found the stun, and it is a quadra kill for Aurelia, and the 5th is picked up. The ace picked up for Pobelter.
And it is rookie of the split Viper with the deep teleport behind Team Liquid lines. Comes in, gets the quadra kill, secures the Baron for the team. FlyQuest are off to the races.
That was incredible from FlyQuest, the ace on TL when TL is supposed to be strongest. Impact unable to catch anyone with that cannon. And the Aurelia tearing through the entire team. Quadra kill, ace into Baron. Let's watch it one more time. Here's the TP at the bottom of your screen coming in. and it is the engage initially from FlyQuest, but Impact is going to come around on the right side with the cannon. You think he may be able to catch the carries of FlyQuest, but he's not able to get on top of anyone.
Santorin leads the charge, sacrifices himself, tunnels in on Rek'Sai, gets the good Galio placement, and then knock up onto the double lift to burn the Sona Flash. Then Viper comes in, finishes off the kill. They destroy the back line and just steamroll Team Liquid.
Uses his own flash, but also to guarantee the last kill comes through. And you gotta know Viper is happy about that one. That's his current mind state. That's the live shot of Viper while playing League of Legends. At 25 minutes in, feeling pretty good about this one now, 4-0 on Aurelia.
It's the focus you can see in these guys, right? They are not getting hyped up yet. They know there's so much work to do, not only to win the series, but to win this game still. And they are staying laser focused here, wanting to close out this first game against TL. The ball is certainly in FlyQuest's court. TL is approaching kind of that 30-minute mark where you start to feel like this composition is gonna be falling off. We'll see if they can get something major done in the next couple minutes.
Baron buff on for FlyQuest, keeping the pressure on the mid lane here. Outer turret should be taken down. They just buff up the cannon minion. Pobelter going for poke, and they protect the minion wave. It will do the work for them.
Gets it down to about 1/3 of slow lands from Olaf. Smithy recollects the axe, hits Turtle again, but he's going to feel fairly safe, and they're going to be just fine. Aurelia and Kennen meet in the bottom lane as they wait for the mid lane to be cleared out as well. So far, no major scraps being done, but the next push is in. Baron's still on for 90 seconds. And with the cannon right here, this could be enough. More poke lands. Jensen at half HP. Galio joins in for a bit as well, and the health bars get lower and lower on that turret.
Remember, though, the poke doesn't really matter. It's just about the turret because Taric and Sona can sustain you forever, so they need to attack the health of the turret. They need to push them forward, and that is exactly what they are doing here. TL straight back to full, but Viper is pressing on that bottom side, and the clock is working against Team Liquid.
All right, 3-3 now in turrets, and you're right, Team Liquid probably have to wait that minute for Baron to fall, but then not wait too long that we get to 4-item Kaisa. Look at the damage on Poether. What a great crescendo. They found their opportunity. Double Lift sets it up, and Jensen knocks it down.
Double Lift able to get him back for the taunt earlier here. Smithy is on the chase. Olaf going strong.
Got Axe, is not going to find the first one, but now hastened by Sona could find the second. Nice blast come by some space as the bottom turret falls. As the rest of the team joins up, and he's going to take the empowered recall. So long-term a kill for a turret. That's an okay trade there as the Baron ticks down.
One of the things to always look for when punishing Zoe, Zoe gets really annoying when going for all this poke, constantly using her R, is when she uses it, she'll go right back to the point of origin there. Double Lift walks up, throws the Sona ultimate down, right on that dupe, and he's going to be able to lock him in place.
Yeah, they did get the poke down. It does come on this next R, stepping forward here pretty far, and Doublelift is ready and waiting, nails the stun. The ultimate from the Dazzle is going to follow up there too, rather the stun from Taric. And at the same time, Viper did take an additional turret on the bot side, so it was the 2 turrets going the way of FlyQuest, and Viper, in the midst of this, completes a 3rd item. He is now on GA. This guy is monstrously strong. I would really like to see an additional healing debuff kind of picked up, though, on the side of FlyQuest. I do think that you wanted Executioners pretty quickly here on Turtle against this much healing.
This is now that next major breaking point. Something known with the Team Liquid squad is they've got to find their way around this next mid-game fight. The Drake is alive, and if you don't fight for this one, what will you fight for? Impact up to half HP, gets the shield. There's a sleep coming forward, gonna find a little bit of damage. No, not gonna find Core JJ. Both are backed off. Crescendo's available, the ultimates all are right here as the Drake is now started. FlyQuest have to examine their battle lines. Look for the poke. Not going to find this one just yet. Down goes the Mountain Drake. Picked up there by Wild Turtle. Will there be an engage? Drowsy onto one. A little bit of damage. Not going to find much of a stun, but now the re-engage. Looking to burn him down, and JJ's going to drop. And here comes the re-engage. They're fast. They're furious. They were invulnerable. And the chase is in. Looking to find that second kill. Kid is going to help for this one. And they're going to look to chase down Pobelter as well as Impact chases in. There's the death on the Santorin. Pobelter going to drop as well. 3-0 to Team Liquid. And Wild Turtle has nowhere to go.
Yeah, he's just gonna get chased on down. He does ult out, but Smithy is behind him. There is no escape. And Core JJ decided that fight with a single stun. He stuns JJ immediately as he came in, shutting down the Galio. He couldn't even proc the aftershock, couldn't even get a taunt off before he went down.
And just like that, Team Liquid are on the inhibitor turrets. They are running it right back to FlyQuest base.
20 seconds in the major respawns. Inhibitor itself is a guarantee. There's a chance they even look for the Nexus itself. They're cheating a bit forward, and they're waiting around. They're trying to at least get turrets, if not end the game. You can see these 3 minions must be cleared. Viper tries a bit. The turret's down low. Galio engages. 3 versus 5. Santorin. Turn it around. Santorin comes in, buys a bit of space, trying to run away. He's going to get back to the fountain, but the new wave is there, but the respawns come in. 1 turret drops. FlyQuest stay alive.
Woo, FlyQuest are able to defend, and they keep Team Liquid off of the Nexus turrets. Very close there and using some flashes, but they're not done yet. Teleport for Viper.
He can revive, he can look for the play. Impact is a bit low, there could be an engage. Galio ult not available. Viper looks for the stun, not gonna find it, goes in anyway. Doesn't find that either. Liquid slow.
Sleep lands.
That's a sleep. Olaf's gonna ult. They're gonna be able to run away from this one with Sona. It should be easy. They're gonna walk out.
Baron is on the table, but Team Liquid do have a lot of sustain with the double supports here. FlyQuest heading over that way.
Double Lift is out of mana, though. The double support doesn't matter if you can't cast any spells. Sona is very mana heavy. She stayed on the map for an incredibly long time, and there's no Ocean Brick to reach, and Blue Buff is actually massive for him, but Double has already recalled. It won't really matter in this case. Picked up there by Jensen, who needs mana as well. There's the Drowsy. Olaf is ultless. Not gonna find that Paddle Star. Half HP on the Baron. Looking for the re-engage. Most ults are available. It's gonna be the Smite Fight picked up there by Santorin, but Team Liquid are invulnerable. Looking for the kills. They're gonna get one already. Look for a second. Viper gonna force the GA out as Turtle tries to stay alive. Kiting away, but goes down to Impact. The kills are going back and forth. But Santorin stays alive. Core JJ in the duel. A triple for the Rek'Sai. Santorin pushes back Impact, and now it's Core JJ alone. Just as the Taric, it will be FlyQuest winning the fight. Viper is unstoppable. 5 kills in this game.
5 kills. We just had 5 minutes straight of fighting. They were in the base. They're at the Baron. They're in mid lane. Now with the recalls, FlyQuest have swung it back in their favor once again.
Such a close fight by that Baron. It felt like TL might have been able to clean them up after the initial Baron kill. They do secure it here with Santorin, but in goes Impact with the Taric ultimate, dropping his ultimate, but great job by JJ. He peeled Impact completely. The ultimate from Kennen didn't do anything.
Exactly. JJ steps up to the front on Galio, zones the entire team. They tank it. This allows, on the backside, a lot of work to be done by Viper. With his Guardian Angel, he can get back up, and then they finish off the fight. Impact, the only survivor there for Team Liquid, whereas FlyQuest get 2 Baron buffs to take home.
Oh, those are pretty big pickups there. Good pickup on that Baron. And grit by Santorin to land that smite. Look at this game, though. 300 gold separates. And keep in mind, FlyQuest base is not looking very good. They're missing an inhibitor. They're missing one of the Nexus turrets as well.
If people thought this was going to be a one-sided series, they were dead wrong, because even this first game has been back and forth.
Yeah, and FlyQuest is reaching that sort of late game stage that we talked about. This is where it's going to get harder and harder for TL. Kaisa, it now has 3 items plus the Executioners. Deathcap is quickly coming in here for Pobelter. Viper is already enormous and now building up more magic resistance with the cowl, so he's going to be that much harder to burst down if you do not have the sustained DPS to knock out this Aurelia quickly. He's going to shred through your team.
One thing to point out, though, is there are some real tanks on Team Liquid. Core JJ has 139 CS as a support. Frozen Heart and Abyssal Mask are done. 3 cheers for supports with gold, by the way. He is actually online as a real tank.
Let's see if they can bring the team fight together. Remember, Team Liquid have to look for better angles to try and get back to Wild Turtle, back to Pobelter, really threaten those carries that are destroying them.
Yeah, but so far, Impact has not been able to find those angles. He has a ton of gold in his pocket. He's got 4 items. He has his death cap complete, but he has yet to find that big ultimate where he's getting to the backline, where he's on top of Turtle and Pobelter, and that's really what he needs to look for. He needs to look for that big flank, for the TP and flying in behind to try to help them close out this game.
The assassinations. Locket not far away from regular JJ. One of these days I'll get it, hopefully before game 5. Mountain Drake picked up cleanly. Looks like FlyQuest unwilling to fight for that one. Mountain number 2 to TL, no problem, as top scuttle drops. Will despawn before Baron comes up. Not going to mean very much for that top river. Bottom inhibitor basically back on this wave. Should be defended. But Team Liquid pushing with double super minions. Could knock it down if they're willing to siege, but they are not.
Yeah, they might be able to get the mid turret here out of the pressure from getting that inhibitor down earlier, but that's about it. FlyQuest are able to quickly clean up the rest of the super minions.
talking about items, talking about cleanup. Double death cap is done for Team Liquid. We talked about this comp being very mid-game focused, eventually getting outscaled. I still don't think that has yet happened. Still at 35 minutes, they look all right. And they have some absolutely absurd damage of what a J Shock Blast can do with a Sona and Cannon over the top with their double death caps. A lot of AP there. Still think the clock is slightly ticking away though, and it is still on Liquid to be the aggressors. Waiting 2 minutes for Baron, probably actually possible as well.
Yeah, I think it's so much down to execution at this point. I do give the slight advantage, just, composition-wise to FlyQuest at this point in the game, but TL still do have an incredible amount of vision control with double Sightstone. They have a lot of pinks in their inventory. They can look to set up around this Baron. That Baron is still a win condition for the game. There's an open inhibitor on the bottom side. There's only one Nexus turret remaining for FlyQuest. That is a way in, and that is a way to close this game out before things get out of control.
Yeah, wow, we have so much anticipation towards where is Impact going to go, where is the Kennen flank going to come from. I have to commend FlyQuest. Santorin and Viper have done such a good job at getting good placement for the Galio ultimate, and that has really constructed their entire team fight and opened up space for a lot of the damage to be done.
Important timers to consider. Guardian Angel not quite up for Viper, but very soon it will be. It will come up in time for the Baron fight. That's probably when they're actually going to fight for all of this, but worth remembering that was popped in the previous battle. Team Liquid did have enough damage to kill him, but that item was very, very useful. Not a ton of MR on him yet, though, still only just the cowl and the Merc Treads. It's a fairly mage-heavy Team Liquid composition.
Yeah, the GA critically, is coming up now, and also the bottom lane inhibitor has respawned, so there's not going to be that additional passive pressure coming in from super minions. But you do see Impact down on that bottom side, wanting to push this wave up, force someone to respond to it, so that TL can make a move on the other side of the map. But it's FlyQuest at that Baron pit setting up.
I think this might be one of the last windows for Team Liquid where they have a really even footing, because Turtle is working towards his Infinity Edge, and this Kai'Sa is outputting tremendous damage. Once that gets completed, big chunk on the double lift though.
In about 5 seconds, we'll be back to full. Yeah, there's Tarek, there's Sona, he'll press W again pretty soon. Almost went into the one on Smithy. But both are pretty low, or almost tagged, I should say, but not hit there either. And here is Team Liquid now in the Baron pit, putting the control wards down, getting rid of the FlyQuest vision. Rek'Sai with Tremor Sense makes it a bit easier, but Impact goes forward, finds a Q, finds a shock, and Pobelter down to 1/4 means he might have to recall.
Yeah, they don't have the healers on their team. Pobelter losing this health really does matter, and TL trying to land this poke with this lethality. Jace, they're trying to shove people out. They're trying to get advantage around this area, and they do have control of mid lane for now, but I think they're going to retreat back to the Baron.
Yeah, I think this is incredibly important timing here. This is Team Liquid's window. That chunk on the Pobelter is going to buy them an opening.
And there's the couple more wards coming down. It's Fog of War here for FlyQuest. They've got to face check everything and use Rek'Sai for the rest. Does have some vision with that. That is one of the late game importances of that champion, is they can play around Fog because of Tremor Sense. And it knows they are not getting baited on the Baron just yet, but it's still Fog of War for everyone else.
And TL now is going to actually start it up. Remember, Sona, Tarek in the pit. They can sustain this as long as their mana survive. Jensen and Impact are trying to zone it out. Impact is spotted, though. He's not in a flank position.
TPing for a flank on the other side, though. Here comes the play. Baron's too low. Good smite picked up, but there's the engage looking for the refight, and it's not going to be enough just yet for the FlyQuest side. Kennen does massive damage. Galio joins the back line. 1-for-1 so far. Kennen for Galio. Revives Viper. He's dropping as well. A double kill now for Smithy. Team Liquid get Baron and the team fight.
What a huge victory for Team Liquid. They're chasing down Turtle, too.
He's going to get crescendo. They're going to have a follow-through, and Doublelift takes him down. And now it's 4 versus 2 with a Baron buff. Team Liquid certainly have enough to close down game 1.
Yeah, I think they can do it here. They're marching down. It's going to be up to a miracle from Pobelter or Santorin, but do they have enough damage to get through all of this healing and shielding?
It doesn't seem likely. They're all full health. Lands a paddle star. Decent damage there. The chunk onto Zoe. One more shot. Doublelift finds another. 3 to 11 for him. And down go the last turrets. Team Liquid take back FlyQuest. 1-0 start to the series.
What a well-fought opener here on Sunday. Team Liquid, I feel like they really needed to make that window work, and they did. Baron buff ending the game before the Infinity Edge comes in. Such a big team fight for them. The timing there on the Baron, just a little bit too quickly for FlyQuest. They didn't have people in position to go for the flanks and try and punish them.
Oh, what a good game right there. Team Liquid, they continue to stay aggressive throughout the mid game. The 2 team fights they really won by a lot, getting the first Nexus turret, getting the inhibitor open, give them a lot of space overall, and they had some really big picks. The crescendo from Doublelift back at like 18 minutes in the mid lane, picked off Bolter. That was absolutely huge. And then again, towards the end right there, catching Turtle just to make sure they can close out the game. A lot of good plays around that squad.
Yeah, and I think you have to give a lot of credit also to Impact in that final fight. You know, the reason that it looked so one-sided towards TL is Impact was actually zoning out almost the entire team. Viper goes in for the flank, but instead of collapsing back to him, he goes forward, he drops the ultimate, drops the Zonias. They have to back off. You cannot fight through that, and the carries couldn't actually enter the fight.
Impact got the stun onto JJ, so the Galio ultimate couldn't support the Aurelia engage onto the backline. There was no extra help there, and it collapsed.
And of course, Aurelia versus 3, you keep shielding it, keep healing it, not going to get those kills. So now for more on how Game 1 shook out, we're handing it off to the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. An action-packed first game of the day, but Team Liquid is the team that comes out on top over FlyQuest, showing maybe some of their veteran prowess and experience on the stage in keeping their composure around the global objectives and ultimately finding the right fight for their composition. But again, when we were talking about champion pools at the top of the day and how champion select itself might affect this series, we get our first look at it, and Team Liquid takes a page out of the Sonateric bot lane book.
Yeah, and it's an amazing Game 1 draft. We saw it yesterday. You win one game, and now it has to be permaban. If FlyQuest doesn't play it, they're going to have to ban it every single game from now on. At least probably one of the components. Taric is the easiest one to get rid of. So it sets a really good tone. However, I don't think it looked that good for them. They were really struggling to make this comp work. FlyQuest found so many windows to destroy it.
It was a really weird game because I think they had the right tools to try and beat the comp, and FlyQuest was doing pretty good, and you could see some inexperience on the side of Team Liquid. But then it's also just such a strong comp overall that like they kind of figured it out as the game went along, and then it's very forgiving. Pobelter lands some huge chunk. Well, we have double heal, and it's not a big deal, and it gives you such an advantage in the more neutral stages of the game.
Right. Yesterday, I said I wasn't that convinced by the comp. I felt like this game, even though it didn't look it, it convinced me more. So I never felt like Team Liquid was in a position to lose this game. Yes, they lost a fight here and there, but I never felt like they were on the back foot where they're getting pushed into their base and they're getting beat up. Even when FlyQuest got the Baron, Team Liquid was still holding strong and showing that they had control of the map. And it seemed like there wasn't that much that FlyQuest could do to beat this comp. The only way that they could is if Team Liquid messed up. So when one of these fights, we see that Doublelift makes a huge mistake along with Jensen in the fight that shows, hey, this is not how the comp is supposed to be played. And they learn from that mistake, and then later on in the game, you'll see that they fix it. So here you'll see that Galio does an ulti where Taric also drops an ulti. And then you'll see that Viper is coming from behind. The only thing Team Liquid needs to do right here is stack on top of each other so that they all get the Taric ult on top of themselves. But you'll see that Doublelift runs away from the Taric ulti, and Jensen also runs away from the Taric ulti. And at that point, that's not how the comp is played.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're in actually an okay spot here, even though it looks scary. In a typical situation, the average marksman player is like, get me out! And that's what they want to do here, but you're fine with the Taric ult. You have the Kennen and Olaf who are going to zone the rest of their backline, but he flashes right into the Aurelia, gets himself killed just as the Taric ult finishes completing. And now you've lost one of your key damage threats, as well as the fact that Jensen did not receive the ultimate. And this is a bit of inexperience or nerves with the comp. It's hard to say, but this set up a situation where, you know, Hai's talking about FlyQuest gets the Baron, things are looking much better for them, but they didn't get a monstrous lead with the Baron. It wasn't like an 8,000 gold power play. They didn't crack the base, and so you knew they were going to have to win a couple more fights over the course of the game.
I actually think Core JJ's ulti was super slow there, too.
It was pretty slow.
Generally with Taric, you want to cast your ulti as the fight is about to start, not when the fight is already happening. By the time he casted it, the Galio ulti is already coming down. Kai'Sa's hitting your Sona on the forfeit already. You want to do that before that happens.
Now, Viper picked up a quadra kill in that replay, so I think that that's something to be considered. Even though they did lose the game, that's got to feel good in your first outing against Team Liquid, the favorites in this best-of-5 series.
It does, and he was up against a Kennen that got a free first blood, so he had more experience, more gold, and he was still winning that matchup. So I think that the Viper versus Impact story might continue to develop in Viper's favor, and I would have really liked to see Santorin pay a lot more attention to that lane. That Kennen had no flash for quite a few instances, but we never saw the Rek'Sai take a creative path into the mid lane. or into the top lane rather, and if you snowball the Irelia straight from the laning phase, then she can go into the team fights and just completely clean house.
I mean, to be fair, he was grabbing an Infernal Drake and some of these other objectives, so I think he was still having a pretty good influence on the game, but it was
like Kennen with no flash. You have Rek'Sai with flash and then Irelia. That's such an easy.
Yeah, it's true, but look at how the comps played out at the end. Like, that felt like a game where I don't know what other things. Like, if you kill Kennen once in lane, that game doesn't change. It's a pretty similar game state, all things considered.
I want to return to the point that you were making, Mark, though, about how Team Liquid kind of seemed to discover themselves and how to pilot this composition throughout the course of the game. We're going to take a look at another replay, this one taking place down near the Dragon. 4-0 in favor of Team Liquid, 29 minutes in.
Yeah, well, as we get this replay up, hopefully we'll see it.
Playing on my screen over here.
You've got it.
I'm watching.
Is it a good replay, James?
I'm watching it. I'll tell you all about it. They're running them down. All right. Let me roll it back.
All right, we're on.
Hold on. Ready?
James the conductor.
Boom!
Right.
Right back to the top.
This is how Team Liquid wants to play their team comp. Group as 5 people, cast the ultimate just as the fight is starting. There's nothing that FlyQuest can do here. You do not want to jump to 5 people that have the Terra ulti, and there's no way they can win that fight when Team Liquid is just
JJ definitely makes a mistake by E-ing forward and then Galio can't get out and the Terra ultimate's still up. But the other question is, how do you force the Terra ultimate out if no one ever goes in? And you get in this like weird chicken or the egg situation, which is why this comp is so frustrating to play against. Like, I have not been convinced by anything I've seen played in to this comp to be like, oh, that strategically would have beaten it.
I think you just let the fight stall out. You try not to fight. You force around objectives and make them come to you, and that way you can start to get some.
But you saw what happened at Baron.
Well, they went in.
No. Later in the game at Baron, Pobelter landed some great poke. It gets healed up. Pobelter gets hit by one shock blast and a Kennen Q, and suddenly they lost control of the map. It's like, that's what makes this comp so disgusting is you want to engage, we have an answer. You want to stall out, we have an answer.
I believe me just tweeted at me the other day saying that with Carricksona, it's a very interactive game for the enemy team, meaning that it's not very interactive. Like, even though you land that huge poke, they just heal that up. And if you get poked, since that's what's going to happen when you trade damage, you can't do anything in return. So as the game gets later and later, it becomes less interactive for one team.
I mean, it's strong enough to put your arguably 2 best players of your team into it.
And they don't even look good on it.
They look bad on it, and it still crushes it.
Right. Yeah. FlyQuest has chosen to stay on red side here for this second game of the series. Of course, we've already talked about the likelihood that they'll ban out one of the 2 champions.
Or take it right away, your red side.
Take it away. That's a possibility. The question is if they've played it. But in the
I actually think you can play it without ever playing.
Well, yeah, that might be true too. But in the consideration of them banning it out, I want to talk about, in a more standard setup, air quoting that, what do we expect these teams to do? And maybe what do they hold over from game 1 into game 2? What do they change?
It's a really interesting first game because it almost feels like you could ignore it. Like, the problems that Team Liquid had in this game looked like unfamiliarity with this comp. The problems FlyQuest had in this game was playing against that comp. So if that comp is completely removed, it almost feels like a fresh slate to the series. Yeah.
Right. So Invert earlier in his coach interview said that he feels like FlyQuest plays differently from Team Liquid. I don't actually know if that's true. We're looking at some stats earlier, and they both have about the same length of game time. They both like taking it to late game. They both like taking team fights. And when you think about that, who really has the edge in a 45-minute game? Team Liquid or FlyQuest? And my money is on Team Liquid, and they have like an 8-3 record after games post 35 minutes, and FlyQuest is 7-6. So if the games keep going like this, where it's super slow in the early game, they're hitting 35-minute marks, I don't think that FlyQuest is going to be able to take it back.
It's kind of the classic conundrum. 2 teams that play the same style, right? Who's going to come out on top? Well, quite obviously, the
world champions.
Yeah, exactly. The world champions, the experience. Team Liquid scooped up game 1. We'll find out how FlyQuest answer in game 2. The series continues after this.
Do you guys want Solitaire?
Yeah, I do.
We talk about support.
You're the good guy. Kane's worried. Can you assure him?
We have never lost a scrim with Sonoteric Chase.
Yes. Oh, true. We also only played 1.
Impact coming in to try to help out as well. Flashing over the wall, flashing to follow. 2 autos should be enough, and it is! Viper in his first play. He's already won 1 series, looking for another. Looking for kill number 4. They found the stun, and it is a quadra kill for Aurelia, and the 5th is picked up!
It's Kaiser.
It's fine.
Save the wave, save the wave.
Yeah. Keep going.
It's okay. Just keep going. Just keep going.
Yeah, we can't get. Keep going back. Fighting. Okay, I have all when I'm up. I'm a Sona. Look at Sona. Yeah.
What a huge victory for Team Liquid. They're chasing down Turtle too. He's going to get crescendo. They're going to have a follow through, and Doublelift takes him down.
To change the world of gaming, you have to go beyond what's next. Break boundaries, make history, and force the universe to take notice. The world's most powerful and most upgradable gaming laptop with Intel Core processors. The Area 51M defines the future of gaming.
Oh no, are you okay, Mike?
Yeah, got a pretty big fender bender here.
Don't worry, State Farm's got you covered.
That's great to hear. Robin, what's going on?
Are you sure you're okay?
Yeah, I think so.
We're gonna get you a tow truck, Mike.
Thank you. Real fender bender going on here. Fender bender. Fender bender. Fender bender. Fender bender. Everybody remain calm. No reason to panic.
Go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm.
Hello and welcome back for Game 2 between FlyQuest and Team Liquid. FlyQuest with side selection chose red, and Champion Select is already ready. And we're into this one. Lissandra and Rise banned away, the same bans TL did last time. Braum had joined that pool. Tom Kench and Gangplank, the outstanding bans that FlyQuest did last time.
Double F feeling pretty good about his mage win in the last game. Sonateric, very effective for Team Liquid. Will we see the last ban thrown their way?
I think if Sonateric is left up, you can play a different style of composition. You either play a hard tank, farming tank top or jungle like a Scion, or you play an incredibly long-ranged AD carry like Cog with something like Lulu, where you can force them to engage on you, which is not their strength. You can force the cannon flash away. Instead, they will just ban the Taric. They will deny that composition, but Team Liquid still get the Jace they liked last time.
And I think if you don't have a ton of practice against the Sonateric, it's not the time to experiment and try to figure out what exactly will or won't work. Certainly would have been a frustrating game for Pobelter playing the Zoe with all that poke. There's so much healing to actually shut any of that down. Jensen did have a solid game on the Jace. We'll see if it's going to be going back to him, or will it be going up to Impact in the top lane.
All right, still the same here for FlyQuest, locking in the Galio first on their side. Will it also be followed up quickly here with the Rek'Sai?
I think Galio makes a lot of sense, honestly. This is something that they have used to great effect throughout the split. FlyQuest, I always feel like they're at their best when they have multiple forms of engage from the very beginning weeks of the split, even all the way down to the end. They really do excel when they are team fighting, when they are playing aggressively and moving forward into their opponents.
Well, aggressive moving forward, but Akali now joining the mix on this one. That should be a very fun champ to see. We've seen Pobelter and Viper do well on this champion. I think you can definitely take down a Jace once you get into mid-game. The early laning phase, of course, a bit difficult.
And Akali is one of my favorite pairings with Galio because of the Shroud, and she can reposition so effectively multiple times throughout team fights. Feels like this is a really good 1-2.
Team Liquid now, of course, no Taric allowed for Core JJ. Alistar gonna join the mix instead. All right, what are the odds it's Sona Alistar? Are there other competitions? Are there other combos?
I think extremely low. However, Core JJ just on Alistar in isolation has been so good for Team Liquid. He's one of the ones that has controlled vision so effectively to find those angles on Alistar where you get the big headbutts on carries back into the team and big initiations.
So Zilean hovering as the pick against Akali. Gonna move it around to Zoe instead. So now Jace top lane, or potentially for doublet for the bottom lane, with Zoe now on Jensen.
Already looking at a tremendous amount of poke here on the side of Team Liquid. Would be interesting to see if Ezreal is going to be banned away or left up, because I certainly think that's something that always pairs very well alongside these poke-style compositions that TL is looking to craft.
A lot of times when we see people that are going to pick the Zoe, the LeBlanc bans come through first. Not going to be the case this time around, so Pobelter does get the LeBlanc into Zoe. Very effective assassin for this matchup, especially if they have some jungle pressure controlling vision around them.
So both teams' supports picked up already. Mid laners grabbed as well. Jace is flexible. Akali is almost certainly top lane. So will there be pressure over jungle matchups as it looks like a non-ban on the FlyQuest side. I don't know if that was miscommunication or that's going to be a remake or simply what they chose to do. We'll wait to see. I'm not seeing panic on any faces.
Yeah, we'll just continue forward until we do find anything telling us otherwise. I'll be interested to see if TL is going to take away the Rek'Sai here. Rek'Sai certainly would be able to be grabbed up with the next pick from FlyQuest, potentially. And if you are worried about LeBlanc plus a strong early game jungler, I think that pairing is so powerful and it will be taken off the table.
Word from production was valid no ban. So whatever valid means, either way they have not banned a champion. It will not be a remake. It is no ban here in this one. Rek'Sai, as you see, banned away on the Team Liquid side.
And sometimes that simply is a situation where the team is debating what to actually ban out so long that they actually just miss their window, and that is a disadvantage. The way of FlyQuest, likely not going to be a game decider, and will be more jungle bans thrown away as there was no first round jungler taken by either side here.
And all eyes are towards the jungle right now. Olaf, Rek'Sai, Jarvan, all being banned out here. Some of the top tier early game junglers, all of them really focused on making those plays.
I actually really like these bans as well from TL because these are early game physical damage dealing junglers. And you have all magic damage dealers on the side of FlyQuest right now. you know, if you were to pick Gragas, who is another champion that a lot of people would think of, that wouldn't really fit the damage profile, so the option will be Nocturne. Works so incredibly well with Galio. Certainly very powerful to have this sort of hard engage against a poke-style composition.
Also, another one good at punishing a Zoe pick. The ultimate, as soon as Santorin can get to it, will be super effective.
Also good alongside side lane split pushes as well. You've got an obvious 1-3-1 here. Akali at one side, LeBlanc on the other. Nocturne can join either from the Fog of War. So FlyQuest do have a very obvious way forward. And look at this, Sivir and maybe a Scorpion in for Smithy for some more team fight power for Liquid.
I would really like the Skarner here. I do think it's so effective against all of these assassins who are diving forward. You're going to make them pay the QSS tax very heavily, or regret not doing that. If LeBlanc or Akali do get nabbed up, do not have that QSS, expect them to go down so quickly. A lot of their survivability is in how evasive they are, dashing away, avoiding damage, and if you can't do that, you're not going to be able to stand up to this much damage.
And whenever you see a team that relies on that mobility, they want to spread the map, so you have more room to make use of it. So once again, it will be FlyQuest trying to pull them apart. Ezreal locked in for Wild Turtle, one of the safest self-healing carries that you can have.
Yep.
Also going to build some armor inherently in the build to deal with Shock Blast later.
One of my favorite parts of Ezreal is that ultimate no longer has fall off going through targets, so also helps with assassination. Akali comes to the backline. You can help and add 700 damage on top. I always love marks with backline access alongside assassins on your team.
Turtle also has a long history of stealing objectives with long-range marksman ultimates, getting Baron steals, Elder Dragon steals, so that is on the table as well.
All right, well, clear directions forward for both these squads. Team Liquid in a very action-packed and incredibly close game one had earned the edge in this series, but it's a best of 5. It's up to adaptation. The Taric band away means a new bot lane, a new look for Team Liquid here. We do have impact on the Jace. I know it's not popular with many of the fans, but he is still not playing tanks. He's playing some carries. He's playing damage at the top lane. So far, so good.
Yep, and it's back-to-back games. It will be carry versus carry in that top lane. Viper certainly having an incredible game on the Aurelia last game, but Impact was 4-1-4, did have some critical contributions in those team fights on the cannon, and we'll see if Viper can edge out any sort of advantage against Kali.
I have to say, this one's going to be an even bigger test. Impact has gotten solo killed by multiple tanks while he's piloting the Jace, and this time around, it's an Akali. Incredible burst damage, and that level 6 will be scary.
Gonna be very scary as we move on to this one. Paranoia afoot. Team Liquid and FlyQuest ready to go into the Rift for game 2. A best of 5 to join TSM in the finals. It'd be Team Liquid defending their 3rd straight shot at it. FlyQuest's first time as an organization. Viper hoping to make it in his rookie split would be quite the tale to tell. Looking now as we move around. Fans excited. So are we. Arthur and Jensen trade blows. Or scathing looks in the mid lane.
Scathing looks more accurate here.
Yeah.
Staring each other down.
All right, we're not seeing the invade once again. Last time around, we saw FlyQuest going for the level 1 base check, got heavily bursted down, and First Blood even being picked up by Team Liquid. So we're playing it much more cautiously this time. TSM making a representation here
that was
as well.
Yesterday. But you'll see him again next week in St. Louis. Best of 5 for the title and a spot at the mid-season invitational. That's all to play next time. One of these two teams will join them over there as we're ready to go into this one.
Going to be very interesting to see how this one is playing out. I'm also interested to see how Doublelift is going to be able to deal with all this dive on the Sivir. Not someone who has any sort of move block or dash to actually escape a lot of these champions diving forward. You do have the spell shield, you do have the speed up from the ultimate, and he has gone for a more defensive route with his Keystone also, taking fleet footwork as opposed to a lethal tempo. But even with all of that, if these guys can get on top of that Sivir, it's really just kind of up to Core JJ and Smithy to try to peel for you.
Meanwhile, I love watching the matchup here of Pobelter versus his replacement. Once again, Pobelter got the counter pick, and we saw him going offensive early with the LeBlanc, trying to whittle down that health pool from Jensen.
Turtle getting an extra potion and ward. Gonna just kind of chill so far in this lane. More trading in this mid side as Jensen's actually getting a bit lower. Pobelter having a decent shot with these early trades. Q not gonna land. Good walk away.
Yeah, Jensen covering the origin of the distortion there with the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, so Pobelter does not take it back. Wins out a little bit more in health. It's all about the corrupting potion charges. And they're actually burning through them very quickly here. Only 2.5 minutes, and there are no more charges left for Jensen.
Yep, Pobelter still does have the one. It is double cleanse here in the mid lane. You know, both of these guys feeling like they are going to need it to stay safe, and I do think it's an intelligent choice, especially when you're considering it's not just about LeBlanc chains. There's the Galio taunt that you're going to have to deal with later on in the team fighting.
Still playing aggressively there. Pobelter goes into the minion wave, getting Jensen down to 200 HP.
And I mean, you talked about how very frequently LeBlanc is banned out when you're going to grab the Zoe. This time it was not, so they did leave this up, feeling that Jensen would be able to survive that matchup, would be able to play it out, and we'll see how he's going to be able to do. I mean, the farm is pretty much just dead even right now, but the trades are going slightly in Pobelter's favor. Both these guys, though, out of potion charges, so really next advantageous trade feels like it sends someone back to base or even maybe a kill.
Yeah, time to call your jungler, honestly, is what I feel like whenever I see no more potion charges and half health on both mid laners. No jungler making their way here, though, so it is just 1v1.
1v1, more minions to farm for Pobelter. Slightly down in health, though, but Jensen not getting any more damage done. Viper pushed out of lane, and look at this. It's 25-12 in CS. That's going to be a forced TP. Very early on, not going to have more than a couple of longswords to his name, or maybe even less than that.
Yeah, and credit to Impact, very well done. You know, certainly has gotten criticism for his play, especially on lane bullies, and Jace is a champion where you want to be dominating lane, and so far, so good. These early levels are going to be the hardest for Akali, but Impact is making the most of it, and we'll see if he can continue to extend that advantage.
Yeah, and we see the differences, right? When you're up against a tank, the Conqueror is very common for the Jace. He's got an Airy here because there is no tank on FlyQuest. It's all about can they land the burst damage and chunk people extremely low. Santorin has made a visit here, not stepped over the ward quite yet, possibly waiting for some more offensive moves.
And when you do go Airy Scorch, I really feel like it's the most laning power that Jace can grab from those runes. You're having so much additional poke. Anytime Viper is stepping forward, you get that auto down to proc your Airy, and you're constantly trying to keep him low. And that is why we saw Viper buy 3 potions, buy a cloth armor. That was his base. He is going very defensive because he knows when you expend the early TP, you have to be able to hang around in lane until at least level 6 you're hoping.
And the other advantage here for Impact, pushing on that minion wave, he can actually walk back, doesn't have to use his teleport. You can use it to try and keep up the pressure, but he has the time and the choice. So he is going to use it to go into the lane and try and keep up the pressure here onto Viper.
And this is just a choice, you know, as you say, he could hold on to it, but this is him saying, no, I'm going to try to push you out and force you to have another bad buy, another bad recall. And, you know, it's going to be that battle between Viper trying to sustain, trying to survive and avoid damage, and Impact trying to punish him, because the next recall is the one where you get the big advantages, where you start taking plates, because he won't have TP for that.
At this point, every shock blast that lands is another health potion almost that Viper has to use. 2 left in inventory. Impact defends his control ward and just runs him off.
It's more CS, it's more XP dropped as well. Nice headbutt, but still ton it back, and now we got Santorin around as well. According today, with a nice flash, but still gonna be feared, still out of range of follow through. Burns his own summoner spells. 2 flashes out for the Team Liquid side.
Yeah, very valuable gank still for Santorin, even though they don't get a kill. A lot of summoners blown there on the side of Team Liquid.
Yeah, the fact that you didn't have to spend any of your own means it's a pretty easy repeat gank. Once Santorin hits 6, I think you want to go straight down through that bottom lane. You can set that up with a taunt flash from JJ, Nocturne flying in. It's never going to be very vulnerable during that timing window.
Yeah, the first Nocturne ultimate is going to be incredibly important. Santorin farming his way ahead, as both these junglers are level 6 reliant. Big dodge there from Viper not to take damage, but he's denied the cannon minion. Impact kind of shoots that one right over, so he's not able to get it.
58-31 in CS right now. And that's with cloth armor, the TP back, and more potions. So it is not looking good right now for Viper. Another trade in the mid side. Good damage out for Pobelter. Lands a second chain as well. Getting Jensen quite low. If he had ignited, almost be enough. He'd force the cleanse. Bubble blocked by a minion. Secret Service there, but now comes round 2. Does he guess correctly? No, the right one was up at the top. Burns the spine anyway, walks right back out.
Yeah, you want to start spamming your move commands on your clone as soon as you get out, so both of them are walking around. Keep them guessing. Pobelter does get out of this one, but now they're going in!
Big damage to dive in for Nocturne. Where's the flash going to be? The chase in! He pulls him back! back. What a play as Smithy keeps his teammate alive, but the flash, the ignite, cleansed back out, and he's safe. Jensen's gonna stay alive.
Are FlyQuest safe though? Impact's coming down. CoreJJ heads up the mid lane, and they run them back. Very explosive team fight here in the mid lane. Jensen burns both summoners to stay alive.
He does stay alive, and critically, this relieves some pressure for the TL bottom lane as well. We talked about how the fact that Doublelift has no combat summoner, he has no flash. He would have been very vulnerable to that Nocturne ultimate. It got expended here, and it was not rewarded with a kill, but they want to go in, flash back out of range from Pobelter there, then waits until the spell shield is off, pulls him away with the Skarner ultimate.
Yeah, really good peel there from Smithy, then uses his own flash over the wall. And even though JJ flashed for the ignite on a Jensen, he's running cleanse in the mid lane.
Nice job right there, hitting his buttons and staying safe. So no kills on the board, but a very close game overall. Now Santorin, nice job, waits out the spell shield, then gets his own stun. Yeah, still fighting, and they trade back and forth.
Now Viper.
For the squad. That's a slow, has to watch out for the bubble. Flashes forward, first ult used, he's invisible. Round 2, can he land it for the damage output? He's gotta watch out for Jensen though. And he can't go for it. Commits the flash, gets nothing. And now watch out. Impact, gonna land some damage, and there is first blood for Jensen against Viper.
Jensen with the Spell Thief exhaust there completely turned it around. I don't think Viper was taking that into account. He flashed in for it, got exhausted immediately. Jensen saves his jungler there.
Yeah, you can see Viper wanted to create a play. He's been spending the entire lane phase just getting harassed by Jace over and over, pushed under the turret, losing CS, saw an opportunity to try and get some gold in this game, but is too far reaching for FlyQuest. With Impact coming down, they close the gates, they get the first blood, and now he has freedom with this top turret, multiple plates taken down.
I mean, that is just massive because not only does Viper die, he expended his flash and his ult. You have no kill pressure on the Jace now. Jace got free turret plates there. That's your kind of opportunity to swing that matchup back. And here it is one more time. Look at the Spell Thief's exhaust immediately onto Viper as he goes in. Exhaust just now expiring, but Smithy is already out of there and they can turn it around.
Yep, Viper running back out of the cloud, but Impact has made his way down, and Jensen could be able to use Viper's own flash to kill him.
The flash betrayed him.
Beautiful stuff though, and it's Team Liquid 1,300 gold ahead. Top lane specifically is exactly that advantage as well. So really tough stuff, differing leads around the map everywhere else. As Impact, the critique was, well, if he plays tanks, then Team Liquid's looking good, but he's on AP Cannon, he's on Jace, and he's winning this lane really hard here.
They say practice makes perfect. There's a reason they put some extra time into it, I guess.
Yeah, certainly has paid off that practice so far, but you know, Viper, that roam really feels to me like that is what blew the lane open. I think that the disadvantage there was more okay because you're thinking, well, hey, if he hits 6 and he has kill pressure, maybe it gets turned around. Now he has a full Hex Drinker and Merc Shreds, a very defensive build from Impact because he knows it's only going to be Pobelter or Viper matching you in a side lane. Both of these guys are magic damage. Both of these guys need to have full kill threat to be able to really contest you.
All right. Mid lane once again, Smithy trying to keep the vision around here for Jensen, a guy that likes to play lane dominant. There's been so much action expended from both sides around that mid lane. Skarner, though, picking up the Spire, gives a lot of stats here for easy dragons.
This looks very easy to do, and you mentioned action before. Ultimate's up for both junglers as well. Watch out for that play. Gonna land the Paddle Star. Pobelter at half, more damage out from Jensen, and be careful because CoreJJ is around. We have ults for the junglers. We have the chance for Nocturne to come in, for Skarner to find that kill. There's no contest. There's a pickup on that Drake. The Ez ult attempts, not going to land for Wild Turtle. We might have round 2 of the jungle gangs coming in pretty soon, especially with FlyQuest feeling a bit behind. You feel like Santorin must pull the trigger at some point.
All right, he's got stopwatch as well, so it could be a possible dive opportunity, but when he's looking down the list, there's not a lot of vulnerable areas. Jensen's flash will come back up soon. Still has cleanse. They've got control wards. He's going for it before it's up, though.
This one, stopwatch goes in, finds a bit of damage, but now going to pull him right back into the turret. Only a single shot, though, as he runs. Not going to get Paddle Starred. Out he goes.
Here comes Impact.
Straight up over ult shot. Blast going to get blocked by Pobelter. Sends in the clone, runs away. They're going to stay alive. And the second roam still looks pretty good for Impact.
With that low health bars, though, it's going to mean Team Liquid will be able to get some turret plates at least. JJ comes over.
Stunned up by Corey. JJ headbutts him, not quite the right direction. Able to get away from that. stun, but 2 plates down. A little bit of time for the top laner to farm. That's at least a sigh of relief for Viper, but it's only a single wave.
Yeah, that stopwatch was huge from Jensen. Not only buying time for Impact to get down, but actually, muting the damage coming in from the Nocturne ult. He did it so early, and they almost were able to turn that around for some kills, but FlyQuest does escape, and it did cost Impact his flash, so that will be a slight edge over to Viper, who's going to have his up first.
Yeah, that flash for the Shock Blast, I feel like you have to also count on a mistake for Pobelta, who's right next to him, to allow that to go through if that play is going to pay off. It doesn't happen. And so now at least there is some sort of opening maybe in the top side where Impact doesn't have flash. Maybe next Paranoia, Nocturne, Ultimate plus an Akali all in could bring back Viper, but besides that, it is looking very dire on that side of the map.
Yeah, it really does feel like a lot of the onus is on Santorin because there is this early Hex Drinker and Merc Treads. It's so hard for Akali to really hit that all-in level where you can go for a 100-0 style play on Jace, where Nocturne does have the ability to add that critical damage. It's all physical damage from him, and there's no armor purchased up from Jace.
Well, bot lane has already lost 2 turrets right now as Team Liquid have a very large gold lead, 2,500. Got to be more than the average for both these teams. This is Team Liquid smashing the early game right now in what was a much closer one over in game 1, but a more conventional composition and really across the board doing great.
We'll see if Smithy just rushes straight top to drop the Rift Herald. There is about 20 seconds, and yeah, he's going to try to go for plates here. He wants to be able to cash in. I'm not sure if it'll make it there quite in time.
Yeah, I think it will.
It's going to be pretty close here. There's only about 10 seconds, so it should actually get the charge. It will get them the last 2 plates. It will get only the solo gold onto Jace as well. You can see him donating that full amount of gold over to Impact, so really putting priority on getting him way ahead, and he is up 2,400. That is insane.
Yeah, I feel like Impact would have gotten that anyway, maybe not in time for the plates, but they got that extra one.
Right, yeah, it's
with
charge. Yep. The first plate was for sure his, second one was up for debate. Either way, Shelly does go down, Viper kills it, but 43 CS down, plus the 5 turret plate first turret. This is a mountain to climb right now, and Viper's got Everest in front of him here. Impact looking pretty good in this game, looking good all series long.
Yeah, and quietly down on the bottom side of the map. These guys have been farming away. Sivir did go for the Essence Reaver as the first item. This is a bit more utility based. You'll be able to wave clear essentially infinitely. You'll always be able to regen that mana, and you're going to have the extra CDR for more frequent ultimates, helping out the Skarner, helping out some of these members who are looking for that hard engage.
3,000, the difference. Smithy in the bottom side, waiting around for Santorin, who is near there as well, but not in ult range. But we once again have jungle ultimates available. 9-0 in plates, not a surprise here. Gold difference, of course, massive as well. And every single time Santorin has shown up, Xmithie was there to counter gank it and keep his team alive. One of these cases, they even got the kill for it.
Yeah, it's looking pretty difficult here for FlyQuest, considering they're the team that wants to spread out and try and take advantages that way, where Team Liquid has a much easier route to try and group up 4 objectives. Like bottom side, there's going to be another Infernal Drake. Currently top side, Impact is going to have a hard time though.
This is a 3v1 without flash. This seems unlikely that he lives. The fear is in. On the board, can they donate? Yes, they do. Viper, finally, some gold in his pockets.
And a really good timing to actually kill him, because this could potentially prevent TL from just rushing down the Infernal. We'll see if FlyQuest can wrest some of the control on that side of the map back whatsoever, but for now, it is actually Wild Turtle's just heading towards mid lane, and it may be a free bot lane turret there for double it.
Thing assignments around. There goes bot lane outer. So 2-0 in turrets. FlyQuest's only score point is the fact that they got a single kill in a 3v1 against a flashless Jace. They are kind of getting thrown away in this one as 2 item spikes are coming through for the Ezreal. Not just yet here for the Sivir, but golden inventory is reasonably high for Azeel. And here comes Infernal Break number 2, and there's not even a FlyQuest map member while zoomed out on the screen.
Yeah, I mean, there's just too much extra strength for Team Liquid grouping up down here by the Infernal Drake. They just used their Nocturne ultimate on the top side of the map. Pobelter walking up there on the Blanc too, so FlyQuest committed for that kill, and Team Liquid get another Infernal Drake.
Yeah, and the next one's going to be Infernal as well, and it feels like giving up a triple Infernal advantage is almost always a loss, so we'll see if FlyQuest is going to be willing to try to fight for that one. It becomes such a big target now for these 2 teams. Seeing that next fight around it, who can gain the advantage, and can Impact draw enough pressure in a side lane to continue to extend his lead or open up opportunities for the rest of his team?
Yeah. Oh man.
Or even in a 1v1 here. Smithy actually trying to chase down Pobelter. Doesn't have any extra speed and just going to clear out the wards. But even if Team Liquid bring those poke champions together, Shock Blast we just saw, like the burst damage that can come through here, with no outer turrets to hide behind for FlyQuest, this defense gets difficult.
And of course, the opposite side of it was the downside of double AP Assassins. He's built for the Akali. Already he's got the items he needs to survive the LeBlanc. It means that Santorin has to be a part of it. The physical damage assassin on the squad to convert the rest of the damage or Hex Drink or Merc Threads is simply too efficient.
Yeah, but then you're drawing so much pressure, you're requiring so many cooldowns. You know, as we saw in that previous kill, they did take him down, but it cost their ultimates, it costs multiple members on that side of the map, and you know, that does open up, as Kobe pointed out, for them to take an easy dragon elsewhere. So we'll see if they can get Viper kind of slowly back into this game. But for now, the advantage has remained heavily on the side of Impact.
Well, looking at Team Liquid overall as a team, already setting up now around this top jungle. They know Baron spawns in just under 2 minutes, and this feels like the first 15 games Team Liquid. Every single one of these players winning lane. They're up in plates. They're giving up almost nothing. Smithy is always there to counter gank and almost immaculate in most of these cases. Now looking at round 2 into the top jungle. Galio joining it as well. The burst damage to the backline finally happens. 1 kill picked off at a Jensen. Looking at round 2, the health bar is quite low. They might get the kill. Good flash play by Santorin, but Doublelift does answer back onto the opposing mid laner. Red buff goes down. Doublelift wearing that one as well. Looks like Viper wants in, can't find it. Could be shut down, gets away. Shock Blast gonna land. They will indeed get JJ 2-1 Team Liquid in this fight.
Yep, FlyQuest lose to Turtle actually in there as well. Doublelift chasing him down.
Couple more shots will get him, forcing the flash away. The turret not enough to kill Doublelift. Out they go.
Yeah, Viper forced a lot of kind of cooldowns and pressure in that fight, but not able to kill anyone. Was staying in that shot for so long, getting people low, poking at them, but not able to have the lethal damage to actually finish anyone off. And here it is one more time. Jensen trying to poke away at that mid lane. Pobelter finds him out. They decide to commit to the play, committing in with that Galio ultimate, getting a fairly big taunt on multiple members. Viper now coming in from the top.
Yeah, that was a big opportunity. Nice AoE being done, but Team Liquid also collapsing there, and then Doublelift throws out the Boomerang Blade as Pobelter dashes in on the LeBlanc, right into the damage, cuts him down. And on the way out, Impact gets the charge up to short the punch there from Galio.
Viper bought a lot of time for Turtle to actually kind of poke away and get some damage out, but because they had already lost members, already had Pobelter push back out of the fight, there wasn't really enough damage for them to actually capitalize all that time. He was buying with the Shroud, and with that space he was kind of creating for his marksman.
And it really feels like gold leads at work, and it's now 4,500 plus double Infernal Drake. That's Team Liquid really cashing in on their early game, and it was good. Teal looking a bit back on form here. Game 1 was close. Game 2, they are slaughtering FlyQuest here and heading fast towards the Game 3.
Yeah, they definitely are, and Doublelift getting stronger and stronger. Just completed his rapid fire, bought a Hex Drinker on top of that. Gonna make that kill threat so much harder to achieve again for Pobelter and Viper. It really does feel like Santorin has to do so much work in this game, as everyone is going to be itemizing towards MR. Everyone is going to be kind of stacking the deck against those guys.
I think the work has to be done while Team Liquid are prepping the side waves. When they're split up like this, then maybe there's an opportunity to get a 2v1 advantage. Jump on them with the Paranoia. Santorin now level 11. You've got 2 levels in it. Try and look for a possible pick.
On the sides, going in towards quarter day, trying to bait out CC or even the aftershock cooldown. Can't find that one. Bit of an opportunity. No Quicksilver Sash on anyone on the FlyQuest side. They can't afford that tax. You gotta run away from this one. There's a quick drowsy bubble gunning away, but there is the pull. They found Ezreal, and maybe you gotta pay your tax. It's April after all. 2 for 0, make it 3. Team Liquid will not be stopped.
That is a huge fight for TL right before Infernal is spawning, but they're just gonna go straight for Baron with Santorin, Pobelter, and Turtle all off the map. They could take Baron and potentially even still get the Infernal. They are so strong right now.
Yeah, this game is completely different from game number 1. Team Liquid absolutely crushing it. No hesitation here. Flashes from Smithy and CoreJ to get the engagement. Baron buff will be their reward, and that might be the Baron buff that gets them inside the base to look towards game 3.
And off they go, trying to answer this Drake themselves. It's the 2 poorest members on the team. Without checking, it's not accurate. Doesn't really matter. They don't have the time anyway. They don't have that sustained DPS, and it will be triple Infernal to Team Liquid.
Yeah, here this is one more time. Jensen with the sleep from so far away, and then you called out just before this, no QSSs, so the flash in with Predator, ult onto Turtle. He's gone immediately, and then Cora JJ knocking up Pobelter gets knocked down as well.
Yeah, they instantly take out both of the FlyQuest carries there. And Pobelter's thinking, yeah, all right, this one looking like it's going to be Team Liquid's.
Looks a little doomed, especially with Shock Blast like that. Pobelter can't defend the turret. Double Lift and Impact join up to make that one fall down. Even Hexdrinker picked up now by that Saber to make sure nothing goes pear-shaped. 9,000 gold up. This is pretty easy. Team Liquid not even content to go for that Infernal Drake. They want to siege turrets right now while they still got that Baron buff.
Yeah, you definitely want to make the most of the Baron buff. They've got heavily damaging poke champions here with a lot of AP and AD stacked up and multiplied by the Infernals they already have. So they're just poking away at both mid and top turret right now.
Yeah, and they always know they can retreat back to that Infernal if necessary because they have so much of this map control. But now stepping forward, getting a lot of damage down on this turret. Looks like the inhibitor turret's just going to be seated.
Here we go, turret's going to drop. They're going to try for the top lane instead. Impact going to pop the flash and does get out of range back towards his team. Look at the re-engage. Ooh, forcing a flash out of Santorin. And Smithy could find that. Oh, they've got the burst. They've got 2 kills yet again. Many in a row. Coulter on the run. Just gets away from Smithy, but doesn't need to press R. They've got the inhibitor anyway. And here comes the wave. Here comes the Nexus turrets. It's not even 24 minutes in, and Team Liquid are slaughtering FlyQuest. The turrets now, they can't run away. Only the champions can, and the rest have already died. Turret number 1 is gone. Turret 2 in their sights, and Team Liquid, game 2 is theirs as well. Will they pad the KDA? Looks like not. Maybe Pobelter says yes. Add another assist. Game 2 is Liquid's.
And Team Liquid looking like the back-to-back defending champions. Winning the first 2 games here. Number 1 with a mage in the bottom lane. Number 2 with Jace split pushing topside.
Yeah, you got to give so much credit to Impact. I seriously think that top lane was such a difference this game. They held Viper down. He was not able to have that huge effect that he had in game number 1. And with everything else working around the map, Smithy protecting Jensen in that bad matchup in the mid lane. Once TL got going, it felt like no one could stop him.
Yeah, I think Smithy's defense was extremely good here from the jungle. The peel in the mid lane, saving the mid laner, constantly keeping vision for the top side as well for Impact to really be able to abuse that matchup.
Yeah, really good stuff. That is back to the big brain Smithy. We expect very rarely does he have those misgivings, and had a couple losses with that. But Smithy is just the best jungler. First team by far. We all know this. He has been the best in North America for several years now. Lots of titles to his name. Looking for yet another, his 3rd with Team Liquid. This is the super team that people expected coming in. This was the 14-1 run. And I feel like with a game like this, with a 24-minute win in 3 seconds, you forget about that 3-game loss streak at the end where they'd already locked in first, and they're just taking care of business now.
One of the critical things that people were still looking for from this team was winning games without tank on top side, without front-to-back team fighting. And that's another goal that they're accomplishing here.
Yeah, definitely a very promising performance from Impact.
Promising from Impact, promising from Team Liquid. They're speedrunning this one. And for a breakdown of Game 2, let's get the rundown from the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, Freak. This is feeling oddly familiar as TL moves to 2-0 in another dominant victory over FlyQuest. We saw the response from FlyQuest in taking out that Taric, just as was mentioned, kind of, again, mirroring our series yesterday. But I want to take a look at the rest of the draft and what followed, because this game felt even more dominant for Team Liquid than the first.
Yeah, I thought the draft sucked for FlyQuest. First pick Jace. All around the world, everyone's doing it. Amazing laner, and then you take the Akali. Not a very strong laner early on.
It's a straight counter. Like, Jace counters a
straight counter, and then you match them together. You've lost all pressure in the top lane. In the bottom lane, you have your Galio, so he's not going to be able to do a whole lot early on because you have a jungler that doesn't gank early on. And then where do you go? Where does Nocturne help? He's not going to gank the Zoe with the LeBlanc. So where are the windows of opportunity to win for FlyQuest here? I just don't see them. Even an engage, Nocturne goes in first, dies right away. What does everyone else do? I didn't get it.
It's like a 1-3-1 comp, but Nocturne can go wherever. But the thing was with FlyQuest, where they felt like they were best, it's when they picked very like team fight focused comps. They're all going to work together. They're being selfless. Here, it's like multiple people want to carry all 3 lanes in the top side, not 3 lanes, but the Nocturne as well. And then on top of the missed ban, like ban Skarner, ban Lee Sin, ban a number of champions that you could have banned there in the jungle position because that's clearly what's being pinched right now. And you get the first pick on red side, so you just take whatever's left up and hopefully you push Smithy down.
I just want to remind people that Nocturne is not a hard engaged champion. He's an addition to a hard engage. He obviously bolsters it with the paranoia by being able to do a lot of damage. If he's the one that has to go in, you've already messed up.
Right. In a vacuum, I like FlyQuest's comp if you ignore the other comp. But you have three losing lanes with a jungler that isn't strong until 6, that is also versus a jungler that is also strong at 6. So you really have nothing going for you to set up the position where you want to 1-3-1 when you have so many losing lanes. It's good to go for that, but you need to make sure that it's in the situation where you're able to do that, right? It's not like they chose those lane matchups themselves, knowing that they're going to go into who they wanted. And I don't know why they would do that. I've done the Akali matchup into Jace. I got destroyed. I went 0-10. It's awful.
I think part of it might have been a bit of a call-out on Impact, who in the regular season had Jace games that were not particularly compelling, getting solo killed by Ornn. And I think people forget that, like, Impact in playoffs is a totally different monster, in my opinion. If you look at his stats, they're marginally better in playoffs. It's a little bit better CSD, a little bit better KDA. But you need to remember, that's against playoff opponents. There's no 10th place team that he's slamming to improve
farming
it.
CS up.
Yeah, you're not improving your stats off non-playoff teams. So he actually plays better against, tough opponents. And remember the gauntlet runs that we've seen out of him. And it feels once again here, this is like, yeah, we'll take that tough matchup high and we'll beat him because Viper's a better carry player. And it's like, not against playoff Impact.
No, doesn't seem to be that way. Okay, so based on the discussion around champions like that, already doesn't sound like FlyQuest has much of a chance in this game. And I think we saw exactly that as the early Infernal Drakes are picked up by TL with total control over the map. They just have their choice. What do we want to do next? What objective do we want to take? What buff do we want to pick up? And then even when the fights did come, 18 minutes into the game, they went in favor of TL. Too far behind the play now at this point for FlyQuest.
Really difficult for FlyQuest to take this fight at this point because there's 2 Infernals on the side of Team Liquid. They're so powerful. And the Akali, yes, you make it into the fight, but everyone's already chunked out. Only Wild Turtle can really supplement this, and one lonely AD carry at this point is not enough.
And still look at how close it is. Like a disgusting flash by Core JJ to get out of the Akali ult. They're still going in. There's multiple people left at like 300 HP on the side of Team Liquid. And it's one of those fights where with a little bit better draft and the enemy team doesn't have the double Infernal Drake, like that was winnable. Close. It was winnable. But they got outplayed. They didn't have as good of a draft and they fell behind early.
Right. I think it's a disrespect to pick Akali into Jace in a top lane matchup where you don't have a stronger jungler. And I think he learned his lessons there. Down 45 CS in 15 minutes, had no control, died from his roam because he couldn't lane top anymore. So he was forced to go middle, feeds the enemy mid laner a kill, and then you're just like, oh my God, what is happening in this game?
That's a tough lesson to learn as well in the middle of a best-of-5 semifinal in the playoffs here. 2-0 lead for Team Liquid. Team Liquid with side choice in Game 3 stays on blue. So again, we're heading back into Champions Select with a clean slate, same size. Crumbs, what's the answer?
Here's what you do. Don't ban Taric. First rotation, Sona Taric as FlyQuest. You've never played it before. It doesn't matter.
What if
you
they
pick
take
it.
Taric?
Just pick it. Team Liquid's not going to first pick Taric. That's kind of goofy. But if they do, then you got to take Sona, I guess. But just lock it away. Just take it. Why not?
The problem with that is it's such a tell because like you banned it in Game 2. You're on the same side. You leave it up. It's like
you're on the verge. You're on the verge of defeat.
Yeah, but I guess is the point there then that TL would just be like, okay, now first pick Taric. Because, well, you're not going to only take Sona.
So what, are you going to take Sona, or are you going to give the comp back over? Or if you do take Sona, great, we have Taric, which is a fine support champion. We saw Treat smash with it in Academy. People,
without the Sona.
Yeah, people do just play Taric by himself. No one plays Sona.
You got to take that game of chicken at this point, though. Like, what else do you have?
Hey, I mean, to your point.
What else you have is what Mark talked about, which is what they were known for throughout the regular split was team fighting, right? Yep. And if that was a 1-3-1 composition, then throw that out and build me the ideal FlyQuest team fighting comp. What is that?
Well, they kind of need I don't think they're getting the Sona Taric. We've seen them play a lot on Lissandra really strongly, but Team Liquid is banning that out. So now they're forcing Pole Vaulter on non-traditional like team fighting champions, right? So they really need to figure out how can they create a comp where they're able to take these 5v5s, but even then they're losing these late 5v5 games against Team Liquid. So what do they do now? They've lost their early game draft of 1-3-1. They lose the assassin matchups. They lose the early game, and they've lost late game team fighting. What can they pull out to try?
So
and
I think you at least start then by banning out the usual suspect. Jace, 2 games in a row. You've lost 2 games in a row. Team Liquid has picked it every single time. Ban it out and see if they go with something else. So at least that's a jumping off point for them to do something different.
Right, forcing Team Liquid into a different look is definitely one approach they can take. More holistically looking at this best of 5, we were in this exact position yesterday with Cloud9 versus TSM. Cloud9 looked quite dominant in their first 2 victories, and then TSM found that answer to turn things around in Game 3 and put 3 wins back to back to back. What do you guys feel is the likelihood of seeing that happen in this series as compared to yesterday?
Very slim, because I went for the 3-0, so you guys have to defend your 1 win for FlyQuest.
I think it's really tough to do because TSM, like you heard them talk about coming in and they felt a lot of pressure, maybe like when they went down 0-2, the pressure came off their shoulders. FlyQuest came into this series saying, we don't feel like we have a ton of pressure on our shoulders already. So
can't take lower.
It's not like a mentality change that seems to have happened for TSM to turn around. So it does feel like it needs to be strategically and mechanically in the game.
All right, they're going to have to dig deep if they want to turn this one around. You're taking a look at the FlyQuest team huddle right there. Hey, smiles is something you want to see. Team Liquid are 1 win away from defending their title in St. Louis. See what FlyQuest has to say about it in Game 3. Don't go anywhere.
Commits the flash, gets nothing, and now watch out. Impact, gonna land some damage, and there is first blood! Looking around to the health bar's point low, they might get the kill. Good flash play by Santorin, but Doublet does answer back.
Right side, maybe. Sleeping mid. Okay, all of flash. I'm coming. I'm kind of fire. I'm calling KTP. Let's see. Lubang dead. Doctor dead.
Turret number 1 is gone. Turret 2 in their sights, and Team Liquid. Game 2 is theirs as well. thank you for joining us for Game 3 of the semifinal match where Team Liquid are 1 game away from sweeping their way into the finals. Just like last split, Champion Select is upon us, and FlyQuest must reverse the trend from Game 2.
Adaptation is the whole point of best of 5 series here. What have FlyQuest got left in the tank?
Yeah, I mean, we saw just yesterday, Cloud9 versus TSM. Based on the first 2 games of that series, you were thinking it was for sure going to be a Cloud9 sweep. But TSM was able to adapt, was able to change things around and start to pull it back. We'll see if FlyQuest is able to manage the same.
Reverse sweeps definitely possible, and definitely testing the stamina of the players. Ryze and Lissandra, not much changes so far. There's Jace, though, finds its way into the FlyQuest banned list. Don't want to deal with that anymore. Jensen 1 game, Impact 1 game. Both the same result.
Right now, Team Liquid not forced to make any changes. Same 3 bans all 3 times. Every single one here for FlyQuest. They add 1 new one to the pool. Gangplank got dropped. Now Tom Kench gets dropped off the list as well. And Team Liquid, instant hover into insta-lock. That's ours now.
Definitely been one of Core JJ's best champions. Constantly saving teammates. Making very good use of the Abyssal Voyage to gain map pressure as well.
And I think that Abyssal Voyage is so key when you're thinking, hey, the way in for FlyQuest is playing side lanes with Vipers, playing these carry matchups, and that is going to make it so much more difficult for him to do. But that being said, no Jace means perhaps more flexibility, more ability to run that lane in the early game for Viper.
All right, Rek'Sai's the hover. What can you get done in the early game? Rack up some kills, or it's going to be difficult.
And a stronger laner here for Wild Turtle as well. They had an okay-ish lane the first time around, and Game 2, they lost 2 turrets just in a straight-up 2-on-2 fight. So a better laner in Varus will make it a bit easier. Team Liquid now have to decide what they want to play. If they grab a bot lane themselves before bans come in, or they go for something really aggressive from the jungle, waiting around to see what Smithy's pick's going to be. Instead, looks like if it is Ashe, it'll be a strong laner for Doublelift. Matches up pretty well against Varus. I personally favor Varus a little bit, but not by much.
Yeah, I think Ashe is always a nice combo with the Tahm Kench, the ability to keep yourself very safe, and also having that ultimate for the hard engage is really nice. And another thing that sometimes isn't talked about enough with the Ashe is the Hawkshot, how powerful that is about scouting out early game junglers. Rek'Sai, as you pointed out, Kobe, needs to rack up those early game kills. Hawkshot, if you can use that to track that Rek'Sai, shut down that early game in combination with Smithy warding and trying to follow him around the map, is going to make the job so much harder for Santori.
Once again, Zoe locked in. Definitely very difficult to deal with. Team Liquid protected Jensen incredibly well throughout all that mid lane focus that we saw in game number 2, barely escaping with his life.
FlyQuest, they might just re-up LeBlanc. The matchup looked fine. It was the rest of the game that fell out around him. Instead, Morgana gonna be the pickup here. Of course, can still go support, but that is flexible at the very least. Gonna make bans a little bit harder for Team Liquid.
And the Black Shield, very effective against the Sleepy Trouble bubble from Zoe. We'll see if it is, a solo lane with the extra AP behind it, or if it is gonna be flexed down to JJ.
And I mean, if you want to put that in the bottom lane, your 2v2 should have a very significant advantage over Tahm Kench and Ashe when you are running the range support. And the only way Tahm Kench generally can turn those around is with support from the jungler, looking for an all-in, but Black Shield can help to shut that down also. So could be a powerful option to try to play through that bottom lane here for FlyQuest.
And you mentioned jungle priority being something that would help. Well, of course, FlyQuest got the Rek'Sai and now gets to add some bans in the mix as well to try to push Smithy farther down, so that can be really solid. Team Liquid are throwing bans towards the mid lane position, but of course, the Morgana can still just be the pick.
I think it would be a pretty good strategy to focus on bottom side of the map. Varus and Morgana both have long duration CC available to them. And if you do have a Rek'Sai, that can turn into kills, into dragon control. Try and attack one of Team Liquid's best players. Doublelift is a guy with the most accolades on this entire team. He's the one with the 5 trophies to his name.
And certainly a lot of the success that FlyQuest has had has actually been through that bottom lane, through playing around Wild Turtle on these carries. He does have 2 wins and 0 losses on the Varus, a couple of wins and no losses on the Jinx as well when they were trying to play around him. He had some very, very successful games, including some very successful early game performances. It's going to be Viper's turn here on the Kennen.
Yeah.
Some of the answers already have been banned out. We'll see where Impact wants to go. I mean, I think you can do something like Cho'Gath into a team like this if you want to play a tank.
And I do like that FlyQuest have grabbed the early cannon here. They still get to keep that Morgana flexible, and they have looked best when Viper actually had a good matchup into Impact. Game 1 looked okay. Game 2 was really, really rough. Smithy gets to see the Jarvan ban, still gets to go for an Olaf here. He, of course, can immune the all the CC that everyone on FlyQuest has. Definitely a very strong early jungler, and Vladimir might be the pickup here for Impact. No tanks at all so far.
Yeah, Vladimir on the side lane, going to try and sustain for the early levels, but can become a very big team fighter if they even lock it in, which they do not.
Yeah, Victor is actually a pretty strong matchup into the Kennen. Certainly something that I think does trade early levels a lot better than the Vladimir does. So we'll see how practiced Impact is on this. I do believe it's his actual first play of the split on it, and it is in fact the first time we're going to see him bringing this out. Top lane Victor has not been popular for quite some time. It was really gaining a lot of popularity back with kind of the more tank style Victor. Earlier in the split and earlier in this year. We'll see what sort of strategy Impact actually wants to go for here, though, if it's going to be a pure AP Kennen or if it's going to be something a little bit more defensive, like an Abyssal Mask and Jashin and those sort of style of builds.
And even, is he going to change up the point allocation? Now, you can't go Q max to get the lower cooldown to try and get more of those shields coming through that scale off of mana, or you can put some more points. People have been trying to sneak more and more points into the laser for wave clear and approach the matchup that way, focus on minions and trying to get AoE damage.
Yeah, your first upgrade often tells a lot about how you're actually trying to play it out. If you're going for the early laser upgrade, it is about shoving them in, is it about that wave control? And if you're concerned about the potential all-in, if you're concerned and looking to try to trade more heavily, then you go for that Q upgrade, for the move speed on the Q, and allowing you to kind of dodge out and also chase down your opponent.
All right, well, Champion Select is done for the third and possibly final time. Team Liquid, 2 stars in the jersey, representing the titles they have won, and looking for number 3 if they can get all the way through TSM and all the way through FlyQuest here today. FlyQuest have yet to find themselves in a final. They've got a reverse sweep like TSM did yesterday. Turtle looking for another title himself. We'll see if they can do it here. FlyQuest hoping they can showcase greatness and make their way on to St. Louis. The fans are ready, the players are ready, and so are we. Let's get ourselves into the game for Game 3. Always love to hear the fans still cheering on their teams, whether a game away from victory or defeat, here up through the end. FlyQuest sitting around on their side of the map, still choosing red as TL chooses blue.
It's got to start now for FlyQuest, and perhaps has to start in the early game here for them with Santorin, who has been such a strong player for this team. And despite the fact that Smithy was that first all-team jungler, Santorin was in the mix for those all-pro voting as well. Yep. He was the only man outside of those top 3 teams from the regular season to even make the ballot, so certainly has had a strong performance for himself. And we saw in the interviews after quarterfinals just how much making it back to this stage means to him. He's been chasing this really ever since leaving TSM years ago.
A lot of the players since leaving TSM have had an axe to grind. Doublelift himself, now equaling Bjergsen, 5 trophies each, wants to get back to the finals and take the lead in that matchup. He's been the one with the more recent wins, with the powerful squad built around him, where Steve was able to put together all of these star players. And there is a reason Team Liquid spent that much money on this lineup to build a winning team.
And it was to win more than just North America. They did that all throughout 2018, but kept coming up short internationally. This was the one that fans looked at the beginning of the year and said, maybe this is the squad, maybe this is Team Liquid's time to actually make it through. And playoff Team Liquid looking good right now, poised to 3-0 FlyQuest.
Yeah, they certainly are. And when you look at the changes that they made, it's the players that, it's not that they weren't successful during the regular season, it's not that they weren't successfully in North America, it's the players who struggled more internationally that weren't able to cut it when it came to MSI and Worlds, and they have made those changes, and now it remains to be seen if they can match their success from last year or exceed it.
Jensen and CoreJJ, the new pickups, and they have been very good. Seen a lot of talk about CoreJJ maybe being MVP this split, and certainly a possibility as we wait around and look for the next play as top is pushing around. And Viper, again, he's one of the big carries for this squad. Top difference needs to be the name of the game here for FlyQuest with this Kennen if they want to come back and get a game in this series.
Yeah, Impact doing pretty well, getting his lasers through the minions as well as harassing Impact and getting a decent amount of damage down there. One corrupting charge left for him in the lane. Scuttle's have been traded by the junglers, so the top vision there. Smithy
forcing his cleanse. Bolter finds a slow, but there's gonna be a lot of damage. Axe gonna go in, but able to get away. Phase rush very helpful in that one. Welter runs out.
Yeah, procs the phase rush, just walks it out, does not have to blow the flash, but still cleanse down. It's gonna be a nice advantage. If they could land another sleep, there is potential kill threat with the ignite available for Jensen, with no cleanse available on Pobelter.
I gotta say, it's really smart. He is running phase rush in a matchup where, as long as you can QWE on an Olaf, which is basically guaranteed he runs at you, you can actually outrun him and get away. Nice little bind there, but that's why you play Tahm Kench. You just pick him right back up. Bot lane fairly close in farm, +2 to double lift. This is still a winnable matchup for the Varus, and they are getting some decent poke down.
Yeah, trying to control the minion wave here, pushing it right back out as well. Nobody really making a lot of the early aggressive moves so far. Olaf and Rek'Sai both full clearing the jungle, finishing up the last small camps now, and going for their reset.
And you can see the priority on sustain for this TL side. 4 of their players have actually taken Biscuits. Doublelift has it as well. He has already used his first, but it's also taken mid, top, and support. Inspiration Tree has become so popular these days for almost all roles, even jungle as well, but just not for the Biscuits.
Definitely powerful rune choice, and we'll see what else they can do as those things stack up. And they chug through everything. Now we've got Rek'Sai coming into the top side, hoping to get rid of this ward that Impact just put down, and it's going to make that lane pretty difficult to stomach when you don't know when Rek'Sai can come through. Makes it hard to push. TP, of course, already been used by the Kennen. Will be burned by Impact now as well to keep pace once he is pushed back.
I also like how you can even see on...
Ooh, that could be enough! The flash is too late! It's gonna burn! And that's first blood! 1v1 in the mid lane for Jensen!
Wow, Jensen gets it. The payoff for the early cleanse expended. That visit from Smithy now paying off as Jensen grabs a solo kill.
Yeah, it's my team now. Jensen's able to take over in the mid lane. Zoe able to find the kill. Santorin, by the way, I was going to mention, it was nice to see on the mini-map how Team Liquid were tracking Santorin's progress after he shows top to go for the control ward. They also had the timer on his Krug camps, so they immediately pinged down there. They know exactly where Rek'Sai is, and Jensen here going offensive under the turret is able to get the ignite. First damage down here on Pobelter. Airy damage coming through on the last auto before the flash goes off. Secures the extra damage.
Yeah, Pobelter maybe feeling safe after that sleep had actually missed. The Paddle Star wasn't going to connect as well. He had no potions, was so incredibly low. Just took the 2 autos, the area and the ignite, and he falls down.
So a W passive helping out too.
Well, if you like them, show us your hashtag LCS big plays. Let us know which ones were great. I think that one is pretty damn good. Jensen solo kill in the mid lane. Team Liquid poised to really push forward. For JJ, yeah. You're getting stopped quite a lot there. That ward, I'm helping.
I mean, being annoying definitely can get you the mental advantage as well. Stops a couple of these, a little bit of harassment. Tahm Kench does have the thick skin, heals up a decent amount though.
Ooh, actually gets that volley to hit, but yeah, no follow-up, not gonna be a problem there for Wild Turtle. Just walking back there, currently minus 11 CS, but has the wave to farm.
Yeah, it does kind of reset the wave here, so Doublelift can back off. And Core JJ hadn't actually gone back to base yet, but he does have TP to rejoin if he feels he needs it, and he will expend it. It was a good job by Turtle at least forcing that out, though, by delaying the recall a number of times. JJ had already gone back to base, already done his buy. Yep. So those were a little bit offset.
It is spellbook Tahm Kench, so 6 minutes rolls around. That's first recall. Bam. We're back in here. I've got somebody heal for Doublelift. He can keep his own TP, and later on in a team fight, he can ignite someone when needed. Barrier goes down on the Morgana side. Ares much more popular for at least solo queue's poke status, but Guardian Shield, of course, quite useful to keep teammates alive in the back line, and just fine there.
Yeah, and I think Guardian's always very nice against any sort of burst champions. Black Shield plus Guardian can really help you stay alive if you are face checking into anything. You know, one of the big complaints about range supports in Pro is that how do you actually ward come mid-game? How do you be that player who face checks forward? And Guardian does help you with a little bit more safety, a little bit more survivability from any potential damage coming in.
As we saw there, Hawkshot once again helping them track Santorin for this early game, trying to deny Rek'Sai these early plays. A lot of, a very effective volley there as well. The Team Liquid duo down on the bot side of the map, definitely feeling quite secure in the early game.
Yeah, and credit to them. You know, TL is laning very, very evenly. This is the range support advantage over to the side of FlyQuest, but not really getting any edge here against the Tahm Kench. And we'll see if JJ can be more effective come that team fight and mid-game stage, where I think things can get more difficult for range support trying to ward.
Absolutely, and of course it's not even, you mentioned this bot lane here, +5 CS Doublelift. It's not even like it's a summoner disparity. They both TP'd back to lane. It's simply Doublelift mechanically playing it better and sort of intelligently playing that lane correctly around the Dark Bindings as well. Now this game is still very close. You've got basically identical gold despite the 400 gold first blood that went to Jensen. So you've got the top lane farm lead. You've also got 2.5 camps up for Santorin, out farming an Olaf, even through opposing Hawkshot. That is worth pointing out. Props to Santorin for this one, but has yet to find his first gank in this game as he moves up towards his offense.
And both of them are on the bottom side of the map here. It's an Infernal Dragon, by the way. We saw last game around. You have to keep eyes on that dragon. Olaf can easily solo an Infernal Dragon if left unattended. So a lot of expenditure of wards and completely checking down here by the Infernal Dragon. By FlyQuest. Smithy stops so he doesn't get to give away any of those radar pings.
Slow, but a simple tunnel gets Santorin back to safety. This time, though, the scuttle is grabbed, and that is some nice golden XP towards Team Liquid's side.
And Doublelift now is post 6, so will have that Crystal Arrow available, does have that Ashe ultimate. Varus as well, ultimate available there, and the all-in potential of Varus plus Morgana is quite high, but with the Tahm Kench behind you, is Viper just going to drop the ult for some wave clear?
Yep.
Yeah, and he is going with the attack damage cannon, early Vamp Scepter. As we saw yesterday, it can be turned into the Gunblade for a little bit of hybrid, but looks like he might go for the split.
Typically, AD cannon is more 1v1 focused. Now a nice shockwave in towards Jensen, decent damage. No cleanse for Walter. Not going to get rid of the Ignite. Simply command Protect to drop that out. Trades ult for Ignites, a shorter cooldown and similar health bar trade.
Yeah, I think pretty well done, honestly, from Pobelter. And Jensen will have to be fairly careful here. He's out of those flash charges. Does have a couple running, though, to heal back up. Santorin is in the area, though, so we'll see if they can try to set anything up. But so far, hasn't really felt like Santorin has had many opportunities as he's been tracked by the Hawkshot. He's been tracked by Smithy. And Team Liquid really has been doing a good job of not giving Rek'Sai anything in these early minutes.
Just the farm. Only now a camp ahead of the Olaf. Smithy catching up in this regard. Still being very tanky. Has the center ult completed now. Warrior not quite done for the FlyQuest side, but trying the scuttle, trying to get the Herald, but sadly Smithy is here again and will kill yet another control ward, can fight Shelly. Here comes the FlyQuest. You've got JJ here on top of it. Viper coming down, and even despite those numbers, 4 on that side of the map with Viper, no pickup.
Yeah, it's because they also had a recall from the bottom lane of Team Liquid, and it's a Tahm Kench with level 6, right? So you can have surprise visit from multiple members joining up. No risk there, worth it.
Yeah, and it's so tough to actually take that sort of fight without Shockwave, without the Kennen ultimate either. You know, those big solo lane ultimates are such an important part of their kit.
There's still some damage, though. Pobelter is fighting Jensen close in the one-on-one. Despite that kill coming through earlier, he's still fighting him back okay. Sork shoes done for the Zoe means poke. Not going to mean too much, though. We still sit in this same game state of a very tight one here. Not like that game 2 where the lanes were getting completely broken apart and there weren't those failed roams we had from the previous game either.
Yeah, I mean, FlyQuest is certainly going to have their chances in the team fight. They do have a lot of AoE, a lot of crowd control coming out from this squad. So if you can get into the backline, it's more about catching multiple members in AoE than it is about isolating one specific person, because Tahm Kench can stop you if you just get onto the Ashe. But if all of a sudden the Shockwave is hitting the Zoe and the Ashe and the Victor and all these people are getting piled up on, Tahm Kench cannot save everyone, and you do have a good chance to try to knock members down.
Meanwhile, the ownership of the control wards over these objectives has traded. Team Liquid clearing out a lot of FlyQuest ones, and Xmithy starting up this Rift Herald with both his solo laners around. That should be a Team Liquid Rift Herald with plenty of time left on the plates.
Yeah, they should be able to cash in. We'll see where they want to try to take that. No turret is really within threat of actually getting knocked down, but they should, as you said, be able to grab that gold from it. with the extra dagger, Turtle's in some trouble, actually.
A lot of damage from Ash. The flash, one more auto. The ult's going to be tagged. It's going to force the flash out of JJ as well. The bot lane stays alive, but that is every summoner down.
And that is huge health advantages here for the side of Team Liquid on the bottom side. Wild Turtle already has used his teleport, so there's nothing to get them back. That, at the very least, will be turret plate money.
And the ult to set up round 2 of this one in case it was a greedy recall. They're not in that brush, but that could have been a double kill.
Yeah, I like the check there. They're still going to be able to get the turret plates. And since the Rift Herald charge here is going to do true damage, you can bypass these extra resistances you're stacking up and get you a very early first turret.
And it's a lot of money towards his bottom lane. Double's getting his own share of it. Core JJ some as well, but that is cash in the pockets. And look at this, 2,000 gold. Team Liquid picking up right where they left off with a very big gold lead early on.
Yeah, they want to try to make a play on the top side, though. Impact low on mana. We'll see if Santorin can catch him.
Puts down the W, puts down the R, plenty of damage coming across, still following through into Santorin, and he can't get more out of it. It is a trade of flash, but the health we're getting a bit low. Heals back, at least pushed off the turret, means some gold is denied, then a second plate will go to Viper, but not the same quality of gank.
And trying something like that on the top side means that the Dragon is also on the table here. Team Liquid actually recalled their bottom lane, and there's no Abyssal Voyage, though, so they aren't going to push over for a greedy second objective, and FlyQuest actually have the opportunity to push back.
Yeah, we'll see if they're going to be able to actually contest that, as TL certainly will have the gold advantage on that bottom side now, and with the reset, going to be stronger on the map. We also do now know that this is very likely a Blade of the Rune King build with the extra dagger picked up on top of that Bilgewater Cutlass. And if he is going Blade of the Rune King, that is really committing to that side lane, that is really committing to the split push style from Viper. And I'm just not sure that that is the style to go against Impact on Victor. You know, Victor is someone who could sit back and effectively wave clear for such a long time that I don't know if you really will be able to get to the point where you can actually threaten to knock him down and threaten those turrets so heavily.
He's switching it around. That is Gunblade done, but Dagger's still in inventory, so it's a grab bag. I don't know if that's
Nashers. Yeah, maybe some sort of a hybrid
Wit's End is very good, of course, now as well as a possibility for 1v1 item. We'll wait to see, but it's new for me, and we'll watch it. Final hex core done for Impact. Drake picked up, no problem for Xmithy. We'll keep track of the game overall. It's still 1,600 plus the Drake for Liquid is a very solid start to game 3, 15 minutes in.
And since Team Liquid were able to push down that bottom turret so quickly, it opens up the Tom, Kench, and Ash to move from the bottom lane. This is so big for the mid game. Abyssal Voyage constantly threatening from the mid lane. Double lift with the crystal arrows. You want to get into the fog of war before you shoot it so that enemies can't see. He did apparently land that one, but nobody's around for extra damage.
Just struck a big pose.
It's a message to Pobelter.
Yeah.
You were making fun of my Sona Ultimate last game. Nails him in the head with the arrow this time.
Yeah, not going to get anything from it, but does show off the accuracy, I suppose.
Exactly.
And, they are going to be pushing up this top lane, as you said, to be able to make that swap a lot faster. Victor can also hold in the 1v2 way more effectively with that wave clear than Kennen is able to. You know, if Kennen steps forward, going to be very vulnerable. And this could just be TL, pressuring 3 turrets across the map. You can see that the bot lane from FlyQuest is actually roaming towards mid, trying to threaten that. They know they're not going to be able to take this turret against Impact in that 2v1.
2-0 in turrets. This one's certainly going to go down. Plus 500 gold to the squad. And we can see that mid lane is down below 1,000. So very quickly, it'll be 3-0. Pobelter can wave through this one. It won't be this wave, but you expect that turret to fall before too long. Still 2,000 gold puts Team Liquid ahead. Playoff TL is scary. And they have yet to lose that mask yet. FlyQuest do need to make this now a comeback win. Merc Tread's done for Viper, so not Xerxes, but Dagger in inventory.
There you go. Here's your conversion around that last outer turret. Team Liquid pushing in the last minion wave here, and Jensen
Black's good enough. Still, though, he's going to be forced back to base, probably the recall, and going to even take some of the little chickens down as well, as now mid-tier 2 is under fire.
Yeah, they're just going to continue this push. And this advantage that they have in combination with Victor to wave clear in the 1v2 has set themselves up so effectively. They have so much wave clear. They have the winning 2v2 right now, and they can look to even threaten these inners going for this tier 2. Going to get some good chunk damage.
All right, more damage possibly dealt. As we have mid lane under fire yet again.
My God, he's gone.
Goodbye, Wild Turtle. He sleeps with the fishes.
Oh, another turtle has made it to the water. Back in the fountain. And that is as soon as you see him fall asleep there with the sleeping trouble bubble, you know it's going to be painful, but Jensen finishes it off. And Team Liquid, once again, when they win games like this, you just feel like it's inevitable.
Yeah, they're just pulling them apart right now. JJ needed to go down to support Viper because Viper cannot wave clear that out effectively by himself, so that inevitably left a kind of an unfavorable matchup for Turtle in the mid lane. He has no MR, he does not have the heal or anything to help survive that. He just gets exploded.
And Team Liquid just crossing T's and dotting I's and killing members of FlyQuest who have yet to pick up an objective in this game. Not even a kill so far, 18 minutes in. Baron up in 2. That might be the next thing picked up here for Team Liquid.
All right, Jensen starts it out. You kind of zone him back with the Paddle Star, and then that allows you to land the Sleepy Trouble Bubble. After that, it's just the follow-up Paddle Star and the Ignite. This is why so many people really have nightmares about Zoe.
And Jensen with a predictive flash there, thought he'd be ulted by Wild Turtle, pressed it, there's an ult in, and that's going to be the reactive cleanse out of Pobelter. And look, we continue to push everywhere, 3,500 up and waiting for the next big play.
Yeah, and they're just going to use the Abyssal Voyage straight to top lane. They need so many members on the side of FlyQuest to actually respond to this. This is going to force out a teleport from Turtle, but he's relatively vulnerable here. The rest of FlyQuest is moving up to assist him. They are just kind of getting pulled apart on the map, though. They really just have Pobelter with that effective wave clear. Everyone else feels like they need additional members to back them up.
Well, at least they burn the ult away from McSmithy, who doesn't have any more than the Kindle Gem for cooldown reduction here in this build. But that's a very, very small window to use for anything. I'm waiting for maybe the next round of something.
Again, just look at the methodical process of Team Liquid. All the outer turrets down, they move up, wards in both sides of the jungle, transitioning between all 3 lanes, keeping FlyQuest boxed in on their side of the map. The Cloud Drake is about to spawn here in 10 seconds and makes their rotation down to this side of the map pretty easy. FlyQuest are making an early move, though. They might want to try and do something about this, getting some wards in.
Well, they've got people around, but you've got a Quickly coming by as well. Quick find doesn't mean too much, though. Easy spell shield keeps JJ safe.
It's just so hard to check into Zoe. If you don't have vision around an objective and Zoe is set up there on pink wards, it's so dangerous to actually walk forward. And they have no true doing it. They are TPing in.
This is the play. Viper gonna ult towards the back line, finds a flash, gets a bit of damage, but he's gonna drop pretty soon. No stopwatch. And that's gonna be dropping up one. Shockwave buys a bit. Looking at the back line access. The stopwatch buys more time. Jensen will drop to an auto attack, and a couple of kills have come through for FlyQuest. A shutdown across the board. But now Team Liquid looks angry, chasing on a Santorin, finding a bit of damage. Where's the death ray? The flash, the double kill for impact on carries. 2-0.
And Team Liquid still looking for another one. Turtle recalling in this brush. Did he get out?
Yes.
Walked his way out of that one. Smithy does chase him off, though. He's still down there.
And there is no way out. Even the Abyssal Voyage to send him to the grave. Not enough damage. The ace. 5 for 2 in FlyQuest desperation backfire.
Yeah, and they're gonna get the dragon here as well. Not able to get enough from that one, certainly, as it's almost all of the ultimates, all of the summoners coming out from FlyQuest as they felt they needed to pull the trigger at some point, but TL stands strong there and is able to take that team fight. You can see also Viper sold the dagger. He wants to go back to a full AP style build, so really just changing his mind away from going Blade of the Rune King. He wants to commit to team fight. He wants to commit perhaps a Zhonya's second item, and here he is TPing in very early on, but look at the gravity field zoning so many of the FlyQuest members out alongside Zoe. It's so hard for them to ever even join. By the time he's gotten all his damage out, look at Turtle, look at JJ, they're just now kind of joining the fight.
Yeah, FlyQuest with a valiant effort there, but getting through that small jungle corridor to follow up on that teleport was just too tall of a task. And Team Liquid, once they're split here, are able to chase down pretty much every single member of FlyQuest, actually, with the flash ball from Impact, and then we know the long chase down bottom on Varus.
Yeah, and that's a frustrating moment, certainly for Santorini. You know you have to be feeling your chances slipping away in this series. You need to make something happen. This is an elimination game here against TL, and they want so badly to go to St. Louis to match TSM in that finals. This is a team of very hungry players on the side of FlyQuest. You have these young guys, JJ and Viper, fighting for their first appearance there, and Turtle, Pobelter, and Santorin striving to get back to some of that success that they have had in that past.
But success might not be here for them today. 5,500 gold puts Team Liquid ahead, and that is a difficult mountain to climb. Sliding down game over game here. Only 2 kills on the board, and their last engage did not go well. Impact now very safe at the top side, and even with a fairly aggressive build, trying to win the 1v1, Viper is getting behind. This is Impact, up gold, lots of damage dealt, plenty of farm. Doesn't need tanks here. Impact on carries, might be a 3-0 as they knock down yet another turret.
Yep, no reason to stop here. The onslaught continues. Only 1 secondary turret even remaining for FlyQuest to try and defend around. And Team Liquid, during this time, you can just mine the enemy's jungle, taking all these small camps away, slowly chips away at the experience lead, the gold leads, and it continues to increase for Team Liquid.
And this is another game similar to the last, where both the solo laners on the side of FlyQuest are doing a lot of magic damage, really pure magic damage. You also have the Morgana dealing magic damage mixed from Turtle, and that is why we're seeing people starting to itemize towards that. Banshee's Veil for Impact, Hex Drinker for double. If you already have a Spirit Visage on Smithy, a Banshee's Veil on Jensen, they are really getting that effective itemization that's going to make that gold lead feel like it's even larger.
Well, a few more things to do. Baron alive, and the wards are pushing through yet again. The ones that FlyQuest have already been disabled by control wards. Control is the name of this game. FlyQuest only kills. We're opting into a 2 for 5. Team Liquid have yet to give up anything here that they didn't get more back in return. Bounty's not even very big. 150 gold, that's all. That's the only extra gold that can be earned. There's not a lot of comeback tools here for the FlyQuest side.
Now you've got to feel like it has to be about a huge flank from Viper, a huge shockwave from Pobelter. It needs to be about these playmaking tools. Perhaps even a Baron Seal from Santorin, but TL are trying to do all their due diligence. They're trying to fully control vision in this area to shut out any chances of FlyQuest getting those.
And once again, the tools at Team Liquid's disposal are amazing for this map state. They've got Zoe, they have Ash Arrow, they have so many things to punish face checking or moving up to try and contest this.
Talk about players being hungry. Jensen yet to win a title in North America. Despite how good he has been, it's eluded him for so long, and he joins the super team. Team Liquid were already victorious. They wanted him to do better internationally. His world performance, of course, quite good. And now looking at this 3-1-2, he got a solo kill in this game as well against Pobelter. He is looking on form, ready to go for that title in that fight against TSM if they can close out the rest of this one.
And if they can do it, he will meet up against his old rival, Bjergsen, who has always gotten the better. Definitely a lot of exciting stuff in St. Louis, but Team Liquid still have to finish this one out. They definitely have a big lead, closing in on the top side, turret defense mounting.
They're playing for tier 2, not playing for smite fights. They are choosing to end this game through sieging. They've got Poke, Ash, and Zoe can make that a bit easy. Victor still splitting in the bottom lane against this poor Kennen, who is not having a good time of this one.
And as long as you're taking away your opponent's jungle, you don't really need to push the pace massively because you're extending the gold lead. You're farming both sides of that map, and you're just kind of passively putting them further and further behind, but they are now moving over to this Baron. Thankfully for FlyQuest, they have that side ward that is spotting this being started up. It's not actually caught by the pink in the pit, so they know they're on it, and they're going to be heading over here. We'll see if Santorin can make a miracle steal.
From 6,500 down, can FlyQuest make this happen? And they're going to force them off the Baron yet again by walking over, but that's the Tahm Kench flank. That's some of the team behind Wildtoad. Of course, the Flash, he's drowsy against the Black Shield, and they will keep him alive. Now Santorin's going to walk back, and that was a good defensive move to get away from all the ults used by Team Liquid, but now it's 50 in the front line. Does have the ult, gets stunned up, but not down, and FlyQuest knocked down to half HP.
Team Liquid now do have a cannon minion here trying to push on this. Oh, inhibitor!
Oh! Jensen just shuts down Pobelter. The shockwave meant nothing, a hit only Core JJ.
Just got deleted there by Jensen again, and that is going to mean inhibitor here for TL. You cannot contest this without your Orianna.
Yeah, that's the keys to the castle there. They just knocked down the door. Inhibitor's going to be taken. Team Liquid steamrolling here. Game number 3, all but in their hands. Xmithie even gonna smite early on this dragon for the second charge to come up to finish it.
Easy pickup there for Xmithie. No one's gonna stop him, and the buffs just keep on mounting. 7,500 gold, an easy, convenient reset. Mid inhibitor down, which is free map control, and the double infernal, even the Cloud Drake. That's all combat stats And FlyQuest's only comeback is through combat, it feels like, and that's nearly impossible now. And they're going to hope for some kind of miracle, hoping that maybe the AP comes through for Viper. Death cap is close.
All right, you have to lay the groundwork now if you're looking at the comeback, and that will be in this red side jungle. Here we go, though, is another look at Jensen on the Zoe. Keep your eyes. Bottom left corner, goes in. Paddle Star, as soon as that one's going to land, he flashes in, throws the Ignite down. He knows that is plenty of damage to finish off that kill. And I believe Pobelter, maybe he was also trying to clear out that minion wave because they knew that they didn't have good positioning to try and deal with that push. And that might have been the goal, but you got to keep your eyes on the Zoe because that damage is lethal.
Yeah, it's tough because he was already down low. I think he wanted to go back to the base to heal up. So you're just going to drop the shockwave for wave clear, but gets caught out and punished. And
another reaction Black Shield keeps Bolter alive, but that's a pretty short cooldown on Zoe's side. Already has 30 CDR just in items. Plenty of spam available as the red buff goes down toward Xsmithy's side. Lots of regen for fighting up Baron and taking it pretty much infinitely. Look at that, 35 health a tick. That won't go away.
When you're talking about TL in playoffs, you really do have to look at Doublelift and the amount of success this guy has had in the last few years. The only finals he hasn't made since winning his first was the split he took off. This guy, despite whatever team he joins, he has been crushing it in playoffs, and full steam ahead for Doublelift once again as he is trying to meet Bjergsen in the finals.
That is why it's so exciting. Seeing those two go head-to-head, 5 trophies each. Bjergsen just cresting his 100th playoff game, adding a couple extra, but right now, Team Liquid have got the Baron down to 4K.
This is the moment. Santorin is not gonna have to jump over the wall, and Team Liquid are gun shy. They are not willing to risk this game on a smite.
They have no reason to go for a 50-50. That's why I was so shocked there. We were all talking calmly, like Team Liquid was going to pull off the Baron and getting it down to 4K health. FlyQuest, though, they still have an option. They're inside the red side jungle. Can they strike?
Team Liquid only hoping to invite misplays. They get some positioning here. This turret loses another third of its health bar, maybe a bit more. Cannon's not gonna get AoE'd. And in fact, they will get turret number 7.
Yeah, and how do you ever kill Doublelift at this point with the Maw plus a QSS plus a Tahm Kench behind him? He feels so incredibly safe on this Ashe, and yeah, TL just going to keep taking those guaranteed advantages. You have Impact splitting in the bottom lane. This Victor getting very, very strong. Viper does have the death cap N16 for himself, though, so there is always that potential of the Miracle Cannon ult.
Speaking of potential, looking for the play into Impact. Flash over the ult, taking some damage, though, and they're going to flash away. One more tag! One more tag. It's out of range. It gets to stay alive. Oh, I've seen that one before in Doublelift games. Victor gets the solo kill, and now, right away, Team Liquid onto the Baron.
They're starting it off here, and the bubble goes through. It does hit Santorin.
Well, that's only a little bit of damage. He's at least tanky and survives this, but look how far he is. He cannot get this Baron. This goes to Team Liquid. This must be the death knell that closes it out.
Oh my God, JJ just deleted from the map.
Emblematic of how this game is going. Jensen's kill number 5. Baron goes over. Team Liquid surely must win this game.
Yeah, Impact with the 1v2 on the bot side of the map opens up the chance for TL to close it out, and they are marching it down.
And here we go. The fans are ready. Let's go Liquid to the finals, to St. Louis. No one's going to stop them now. 5 alive. The turrets are gone. They find a stun. A cleanse is all that matters as they're going to mop up the opponents. Fast wins here. Team Liquid back on form for their date with TSM, a team they beat before. Up next is They Will Smash, looking for title number 3. Pad the KDA, close the series down. Team Liquid 3-0 in the finals.
Game number 1 had fireworks back and forth, but since then it has been all Team Liquid, looking strong heading to St. Louis.
They definitely are back in playoff form as Team Liquid, and so much experience on this roster. Yeah, back-to-back championships last year. They look for upgrades in the roster. They look for even greater success, and they're heading towards that finals.
But ever since this super team iteration of Liquid, since the beginning of 2018, they were the best team in North America, the best team in North America, and the best team in North America. First place regular season, 3-0 in the semifinal, looking incredibly sharp. A team that they beat in the regular season, or fought in the regular season as well. I believe TSM did win those ones, but time for revenge.
Yeah, I mean, and it is looking good. The piece that they added, Jensen here in the last game, especially on Zoe, does find so much control for them. All these burst kills coming through. One of the big questions, though, people kept asking for Team Liquid. At the end of the split, lost some games. Are they going to be able to win with multiple looks? And they did in this series. That may even be the most important part.
Yeah, they certainly did. And credit to Impact did look good, especially, I would say, in game 2 and 3. The Jace as well as this Victor. He was going blow for blow with Viper. He was getting huge advantages in game 2. And he was a critical part of their wins in both 2 and 3. Laning phase from the Jace, 1v2 on the bottom side, getting them that Baron and closing out the game here in the final game. Definitely some reevaluating perhaps to be done about Impact's strength on carries.
It's always good to see growth out of players. I mean, Team Liquid as an org, the joke forever was fourth place, but here's the 3-0 in the semifinals. It's victory, victory, maybe a third one in a row now. A new era, I think, certainly upon us. You've already had the 2018 run looked so good, but Team Liquid gets number 3. That is the all-time record for consecutive titles. TSM had that 3 in a row back then. TL can take number 3 here in just a week, and I mean, the sky's the limit. This team looks so good and better than everyone.
I can't wait for the matchup because TSM have looked so strong in the back half of spring, waiting for Team Liquid to get there in St. Louis for the finals and go head-to-head.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's so much pressure on these rosters. TSM trying to rebuild their dynasty, as you say. You know, they fell off last year. Team Liquid trying to hang on to that, trying to usurp TSM and match their record. It's going to be a banger.
Now, TSM won the regular season against them, but we'll see what playoffs have for us. Now to hear from the reigning champions, Avli has an interview with the Team Liquid bot laner.
Thanks, Freak. Double of congratulations, but you had fans worried coming into playoffs, but after the clean 3-0 sweep today, you guys are looking again like that #1 team in the scene. What's this win like for you, especially after the rough week 9?
Well, it wasn't just a rough week 9. I think we went into scrims for playoffs. We had, 2 weeks of preparation, and we would go on consistent, like 14 or 15 game losing streaks in practice. And we were just absolutely terrible. So I think somewhere along the way, like after we secured first seed, we kind of like lost the Team Liquid way. And we lost our play style, and we basically just completely forgot how to win. And I think a few days before we played today, we were actually just thinking like, we had a lot of serious talks about like, well, why can't we win games anymore? Like what happens? And, we look back on our previous performances. Earlier in the split, we were stomping people, and it was like, well, what happened to that? Like now when we practice, we're like losing all 3 lanes and like, we don't know what to do. So I was really shocked that we won today. I'm not gonna lie. Like I had no expectations. We had like a 20% win rate coming up to this. So just really grateful. We were able to win, and I think the experience really shows. Like our team's experience really shows. I think we were really clutch when it mattered the most.
Well, I spoke with Kane before this, and he said almost exactly what you did, that you guys were in a practice slump over the past few weeks, and that it wasn't until this week that you guys were able to pull yourself out of it. So from your perspective, like, what was it that snapped you guys out of it?
I think we just completely forgot, like, how... I don't know, I don't want to, like, sound super corny, but we just, like, forgot, like, what we do as a team. Like, we forgot, like, the Team Liquid... the way to play League of Legends. Like we have a way to play, and we weren't doing it. We weren't executing on it. And we started like, just not trusting in any plays that were being called out, or I don't know. I think there was a lot of things. It was like, it can never really pinpoint it to one thing, but I think today, we just said, we know how good we are. We know like just how individually talented a lot of players are. Just trust each other, trust in the play, and it'll work out, and it worked out.
Well, you need to find your way because you're going to be playing TSM next week in the finals in St. Louis, and you guys already have a losing record against them. So what makes you think that you're going to be able to pull off the win this time?
Well, the slump's over, boys. I'm already practicing for MSI.
All right, and if only to make things a little bit spicier, you and Bjergsen are going to competing for your 6th trophy each, meaning that at the end of next week, one of you guys is going to have more than the other. So is there anything you'd like to say to him?
Well, I'd like to shit talk Bjergsen, but he's kind of my friend, so you know I really respect him. He's an incredible player. Like if you just that series, right, the C9 TSM series, if that was a worse mid laner, I think TSM was doomed. So luckily we got Jensen now, and I think he is a really good match for Bjergsen, and I think. Yeah, TSM this year, or this split, they've kind of had our number, and they stylistically have like kind of countered us. So we're just gonna try our best, and I think we're better.
Well, Doublelift, I'm wishing you the best of luck with that. Don't lose your way, and again, congratulations on today. And for another interview, Pastry is standing by with Steve.
Thank you very much. I am here with Team Liquid, Steve. Now, congratulations are in order soon, but I have to ask you, bro, I'll give you a chance to defend yourself. Why'd you chicken out and pick FlyQuest instead of TSM? The people have to know.
Oh, it was pick TSM for the finals, you know, so we'd meet them there. Yeah, exactly.
Well, makes sense to me. And again, it feels like this team has just exceeded all expectations since 2018. What do you have to say to the team just with how much they've done making yet another finals?
I think they've put in the hard work. They've earned it. You know, this match against FlyQuest, I think that it was a lot to them to come to this match and try to win, but, you know, it was pretty easy. We prepped really hard, but, you know, they didn't put up a fight. So I hope TSM does in the finals.
As you said yourself, TSM now awaiting in the finals. You get to rematch against one of the most storied doors alongside Team Liquid and, of course, against Reggie. What are your expectations for the finals?
I think it will definitely be closer than this matchup. I'd love to beat Andy in the finals. That will feel really good. But it should be a good match. I think we're prepped. We've solved a lot of our problems, and we're ready to win.
Well, congratulations today. Best of luck in St. Louis. Thank you once again for talking to me. With that, we are going to throw it back to the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you, Pastry. TL says no thank you to a 5-game series like the one we saw yesterday and put forth another dominant victory here over FlyQuest to take the clean 3-0 and make their 3rd consecutive finals to defend their title.
They looked scary. They busted out comps that nobody else was doing with the Sona Tarek. Like it had to be banned. Not that anybody else was not doing it, but Jensen being able to solo Pobelted, that is the one that really has to hurt because, like we keep saying, this is your replacement, and he actually killed you in lane, and that feels bad.
And I like this series a lot for Team Liquid, if you're a Team Liquid fan, because you got to see your solo laners be the primary focus of the carrying and the wins. And, you know, Doublelift and Core JJ were fine this series, but it really felt like Game 2 was a lot about impact, Game 3 was a lot more about Jensen, but even the Victor was super good this game. So it used to be called this one-dimensional team, and you felt like Doublelift was the only real play style, and now it feels like other people can be the carries.
Right. Impact has been trying to get better and better at carries, right? And we can see in this series that he's gotten a lot stronger at it. And it's not like he's playing against a weak top lane or anything, right? He's against the rookie of the split, Viper, and Viper is a strong carry top laner, and he's still performing very well in that. We see Doublelift picking Sona, which I actually really dislike, and I wasn't that impressed by his Sona, but like they definitely took the back foot in the series, like, hey team, you guys got this, you carry me, I'll carry you in the finals or something like that.
I think it's really interesting to hear from Doublelift in that interview. For Doublelift, that was fairly tempered, fairly reserved. And Mark, you kind of you made the comment like, wow, their scrims must really not have been that great.
To get Doublelift to be that reserved in an interview, you must have had some tough scrims. Luckily, Steve came on after and laid out some smack talk for us.
Yeah, it was true smack talk. FlyQuest didn't put up a fight.
No.
How many turrets did they take? How many ganks did they do?
0 in this
How
game.
many proper drafts? Like, it was not very prepared for FlyQuest. It looks like they ran out of steam maybe in the last series because they didn't have much to show for this one, unfortunately.
All right, but I think it also points again to the idea that Team Liquid refound themselves a little bit. Again, supports the idea that where maybe they were a, you know, one-track-minded, single-threat composition throughout the regular split, they are no longer that. And that's going to have to be something that TSM takes into consideration when looking ahead towards the finals. We'll preview that finals matchup in just a bit, but I do want to kind of give our nod to FlyQuest and their split as they will be exiting the scene here at this point.
Overall, an uptick with how things ended in 2018. You know, they got knocked out in quarterfinals, that playoffs. This time they make semifinals, and it was a really hard-fought, you know, road to get here, having to take down Golden Guardians. So overall, a split that they can definitely be proud of.
I mean, it's a team with no imports. Like, you made it this far. That's actually really impressive every single time. Like, you have to always commend when a team can do that in a region that is filled with world champions.
Right, the results
that don't actually come from here.
That don't actually come from here.
It hurts to say.
Hi.
The results are getting better. The fan base is growing. They're creating more content. So everything for FlyQuest, even outside the game, is looking to get better and better and better.
I think, yeah, you have to consider, too, that it is a year of rebuilding, bringing in some of these guys. Yes, some veterans, some new players, but just like Cloud9 with Licorice last year, you know, rookie of the split for Viper in the top lane. We'll see if he continues to improve and makes more of a name for himself against the rest of the top laners in the league come summer. Again, Invert, he was in the discussion for, you know, coach of the split for that 4th place squad in FlyQuest, and I think I'll be curious to see what kind of learnings he takes maybe from his best of 5 experience here, looking towards the playoffs in summer.
Yeah, I mean, he was a rookie coach in some regards. He had coached in University of Toronto, then coached in Academy, but this was his first LCS playoff, you know, best of 5, or second one, excuse me, and this was his first playoffs as a whole. Looked pretty good in the first round. And this second time, like we were saying, you know, it was something to be desired, so maybe scrims didn't go well that week. It's hard to know, but there's a lot to improve on this team. It's not just the players, it's the entire staff that can level up.
Luckily, it's spring. You always have that room to grow in summer, and the best thing is that you set the tone for what summer is going to be. You've already raised the bar significantly higher for the org. Next summer, potentially looking for that world spot. If FlyQuest can do well, they're going to represent.
Just want to keep climbing. Now, Liquid's road to the finals came with swift determination from all 5 members, but Impact had an especially good series, earning him Player of the Series.
Right, and it was pretty close between him and Jensen, honestly, for us. We were talking back and forth about what we thought would have been a better choice. Jensen obviously had a monstrous Game 3, but it's not like Impact didn't also have a monstrous Game 3. And for me, it came down to, like, I didn't expect Impact to be this dominant over Viper and FlyQuest in general, whereas I expected Jensen to do what he already did. And the impact that he had across all 3 games was significant enough for me to give him that.
Yeah, I think coming into the series, this is not the champ pool you would have expected to see Impact on, and that probably threw them for a bit of a loop in the draft as well.
That's going to be so impressive moving on to the finals, because now you've got a top laner that also busts out the victor. What else does he have in store? Because this is a matchup that he had against the Akali. We know Broken Blade is really good at that. We have the Jace being first picked so often. Like, I really want to see this matchup now.
It might be shaking in your boots a little bit if you're Broken Blade right now.
Well, are you? You started playing tanks recently since Bjergsen's been getting more of the resources in playoffs.
Yeah.
He played the Cho'Gath.
And the Vladimir.
But I don't even mean from like a champion pool perspective. I'm talking more about the idea that we've mentioned Impact does always seem to make that step up in the playoffs, postseason, or come Worlds and International tournament time. And then again, to see him diversify back into, hey, I still have the tank play, and now I've got the carry threats. Just with that veteran experience and pedigree, I'm sitting here as Broken Blade looking across from a world champion. I'm maybe a little bit concerned.
Is he back in town, right? Like,
exactly.
Time you're like, okay, this is yours. There you go.
The one thing you know is, like, Team Liquid, regular season slump, scrims don't look that good. None of that matters to a team with this much experience when you put them on a stage like the Shea Fitz Arena. You know, it's a big stage, and they've all been there countless times before.
Right. I think Broken Blade's pretty excited for the matchup, honestly.
He looks like he's ready to go.
I hope so.
Like, I would be excited at the opportunity to play FLICKR, right? I'm not quavering in my boots. I'm like, oh, no, FLICKR. I'm like, yes, I want to play this guy and try and beat him up or learn from him, right? And he already played versus the best top laner in North America already. So now he's versus Impact. Is he really going to be afraid? I think he's here to make his claim that he's the best top laner.
I hope you're exactly right, Hi. In our semifinal week, we had enough pop-off moments to pack some flashy highlight reels, but these were the ones worthy of being named in LCS Big Play. First up, Iora NJ chronicled their reaction to Viper's quadra kill. Yo, Viper. Yo, Viper. Yo, Viper.
Here comes the play. A knock-up in. Galio as well. Can they knock down one? They've gotten the first kill at Asona. Devilist is gone. In goes the cannon. Looks for turning it around, but not just yet. Viper is online for the double kill. Looks for number 3. Can't find it just yet, but he might get it there. That 3 for Viper in his first playoffs. He's already won 1 series. Looking for another. Looking for kill number 4. They found the stun, and it is a quadra kill for Aurelia.
I really thought that was going to be the moment where FlyQuest turned everything around. It was like, all right, change the predictions. It's all over. FlyQuest has got this
series. He was doubting himself.
Yeah.
And then you see Sona Tarek on the enemy team. You're like, I need more than that.
We're still trying to figure out how you dismantle a Sona Tarek composition aside from a ban in Champion Select. If you have any ideas, let us know. Next up, Frank Kratos marveled at Bjergsen's carrying ability, claiming he could probably deadlift 1,000 pounds with how strong his back is.
Smoothie's gonna be the target, taken very low. Ultimate keeps him alive for now. A lot of damage on Cloud9, and here comes your janitor, baby!
Bjergsen on cleanup duty. FLICKR is going to be taken low. Sneaky's going to be taken down. Zazel drops next.
Wait for Kali, please slow. Holding here.
Okay.
Poke.
Yeah, this is good fight.
Zillion no ult.
He said.
Let's go. Jinx.
Look, I flash.
Zillion no ult here.
Jinx has flash.
Yeah. Nice, good job.
Nice, look.
That was actually so well played mechanically. The E over the wall for the Jarvan takes out the Zillion with no ult.
Yeah, good target selection.
That's a good player.
Not focusing on the Jarvan, who is super low, actually using his next ult charge to get the kill on the carry instead, and then go back to the Jarvan. I mean, that's also a call who's like Dream, where the enemy team has already blown a lot of cooldowns on the front line of the fight, and you come in on the tail end and just get all the cleanup kills. Super well played, perfect opportunity.
And they called it. It's like, wait for a call
it was
before you
conscious.
go in.
It wasn't lucky that this happened.
Right, both plays, Assassin or Bruiser teleporting behind a ton of squishy people. That's their dream right there. Low wage people with nothing.
And the moment made all that much more special by the fact that it needed to happen then. For TSM, for TSM to win that series, they needed the turnaround in that moment. And it's Bjergsen of all people to step up to the moment and deliver and start that reverse sweep. Thank you so much for tweeting at us all split long. We'll need you to come out in full force as we make our way to the Shapitz Arena over there in St. Louis. Team Liquid's 3-0 today has booked them a trip to their third consecutive final, and we'll see if they can three-peat versus TSM, who took down Echo Fox and Cloud9 to earn their shot in St. Louis.
They already kind of talked about it a little bit in the interviews. Doublelift versus Bjergsen for the crown of the first 1 to 6 championships, and probably the leg up in the debate right now that has been revitalized since Doublelift has gone on this winning streak of who is North America's best player. It was Bjergsen undoubtedly for so long, and now there's been this rally for Doublelift, and it's the perfect time for Bjergsen to try and chime in and say no.
For either of them, right?
Yeah,
either Doublelift ends the conversation or Bjergsen reignites it in a sense, but both of them sitting with 5 titles, looking to take that 6th. Only one of them can do it.
I mean, I'm going to put my hat in the ring here and say that it's Bjergsen as the #1, because look at the team that Doublelift has around him. He has world champions all over. He's got some of the best junglers all over, whereas Bjergsen has a lot less to work with and still has the same amount of trophies.
Well, if we're talking historically, Bjergsen's almost always been the best team in North America, right? To cement his legacy, TSM has almost always been at the top, and it's only recently that Doublelift has started to take that over with Team Liquid, taking the first place. So I think it's a pretty comparable comparison between those two, and I don't really know who I'd give it to.
Right, you had the Forever Fourth era of TL. Doublelift comes in, and that's where we finally see them begin to kind of shirk that title and become a championship contender. Outside of just the conversation for Doublelift and Bjergsen, both at 5 titles, there's a lot more on the line, actually, that I think some people are overlooking. Jensen still searching for his first domestic title. This is a guy who's normally as well in that conversation to challenge Bjergsen as one of the best mid laners in all of North America.
Yeah, Sven as well. Coming over from Europe, heralded as one of the best marksman players ever from that region, and then comes over to North America and has one of the worst splits in TSM's history. You know, that's such a tarnish on his legacy that I'm sure he is desperate for another championship.
But if he wins, he will actually be the first player in history to win a championship in both EU and North America. So again, just even more on the line for both sides as we move towards St. Louis.
And on top of that, you got MSI representation. That's even more honor than winning the LCS, because if you can actually pull off a win there, forget about Worlds. If we have an MSI title, our trophy case is used.
So we're talking a lot about what's on the line, right? What's at stake, the pride, the glory, all of these things. What do you guys actually think about the matchup? Because the roads to getting to the finals, very different for each of these squads. Team Liquid starting hot at the top of the split, trailing off a little bit, coming back into form here in playoffs. TSM starting slow, ending hot, having a really tough 5-game series where they're pushed to the absolute brink in order to qualify. So when these two teams come head-to-head, what do you expect to see?
So I think it's going to be a lot of back and forth in the draft. Somebody's going to bust out Sona Tarek again, so it's going to have to be banned. Then you have the Akali and the Jaces. Who's going to be running that? With the Zoe and then the jungler, Jarvan and Rex. There's so many picks that just go back and forth that whoever comes out ahead in draft, I think will have a huge advantage. And I know that Ziggs was one of the guys that was in our running for coach of the split, whereas Kane was in there as well. But I think that we felt like Ziggs had done a better job with the drafts and the direction that TSM has.
What's really interesting is I feel like the regular season trends have all been bucked in the playoffs. Team Liquid having success on carries top, Broken Blade playing a tank when needed to. The fact that TSM beat their rock, paper, scissors rival in Cloud9, and now we're going to the second part of that rock, paper, scissors matchup. And with the fact that nothing else has held true from the regular season, it's actually really hard to try and use history to predict what's going to happen.
I'm going to say that they're probably both going to draft scaling comps. I don't believe either team will be able to destroy the other one within 20 minutes based off how these games went. So hopefully they learn what strong late game scaling comps are and pick accordingly to that and make it a good best of 5.
That's it right there. April 13th, St. Louis Chaifetz Arena. Mark your calendars, because we'll be there, and we hope to see you there too. But now for myself, the casters, the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next Saturday for the LCS Final.
Team Liquid were the favorites coming into the year. Doublelift, Core JJ, absolute juggernauts in their roles. And FlyQuest with a rookie top laner and a few new additions as well. It's time for the battle to join TSM in St. Louis. Someone to heal might be enough. Will there be the extra auto attacks? Impact coming in to try to help out as well. Flashing over the wall, flashing to follow. 2 autos should be enough, and it is!
Yeah, I got Jace. Yeah, look, Cannon on health. Cannon no out. Oh, Ferric just flash. I can get Cannon. I can keep going. I have a W in 2. Look at all. If you get one more, you can Baron. You can Baron after this. You can Baron. You don't need to go. Yeah. Hey, go Olaf too. That's all you if you want to go for Olaf. Yeah. Nice, guys. Let's go, baby.
Go. Zoe.
Yeah.
Yes, flash. Keep going. Okay. Enemies here.
I need help.
You're okay. Rek'Sai. And then the rest.
I got to it. Impact. Gonna land some damage, and there is first blood. There is the pull. They found Ezreal, and maybe you gotta pay your tax. It's April after all. 2 for 0, make it 3. Team Liquid will not be stopped.
I wonder who else buys hand warmers other than
I have
LCS.
hand warmers.
In your house?
Yeah.
Why? What's the point?
Cold hands.
Okay. Oh my God. Wow, nice reason. In my mind's, in my worldview, I always wanted the most.
Ooh, that could be enough. The flash is too late. It's gonna burn, and that's first blood. 1v1 in the mid lane for Jensen.
There's 1 HP. There's 1 HP impact. Yeah.
I can slowly.
No flash Rek'Sai.
Okay, I'm going to say.
Take, come.
One more tag. One more tag. It's out of range. It gets to stay alive. Oh, I've seen that one before. Let's go Liquid to the finals, to St. Louis. No one's going to stop them now. Team Liquid back on form for their date with TSM.